No Jumper. Coolest podcast in the world. And today we got motherfucking Bardock Obama. Am I saying that right? Bardock?
Yeah, Barack.
Barack.
Bardock.
Did you know that there's a president named Barack Obama?
That's that black guy, isn't it?
I mean,
I think so.
I heard he's from Kenya. There's this whole thing.
I don't even know if he's from the same planet.
He's from Hawaii, right? Or is he? He's not from Kenya. Then he couldn't have been president. But wasn't he born in Hawaii?
He was born in Hawaii.
Right.
Yeah. And then they were asking for the papers, the birth certificate.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that was being done in such a way that they didn't really think he wasn't born.
I think it was like Trump lobbying. For that shit.
Trump was a big part of it, and then he tried to blame it on Hillary and say that it was all Hillary's thing.
Yeah.
But I think Hillary did play into it a little bit at one point, but I don't know.
All I remember was going on Facebook back in the day in 2008, and that's all you saw.
No homo on saying that you're on Facebook, by the way. You got to say no homo after that.
No homo. Facebook was popping back in the day, though.
Facebook is still so big, but it's so fucking whack. It's like the wackest country
You can't
club
say
ever.
shit on Facebook.
Oh yeah, you do get deleted on there, huh?
Yeah,
you got that problem?
All the time. I just got back from being deleted.
Really? For how long?
I was gone for almost a month.
Really?
They unpublished me. I contacted Facebook directly.
What'd you post?
It was a couple of things I got knocked down for, but what happened was there was a couple of kids that didn't like me on Facebook. You know, that's how it is
for
on
them
Facebook.
to take advantage of it. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't like me. I'm almost at 1 million fans over there.
Wow,
so
crazy.
they kind of hate on that. You know, I say what I want, I do what I want. That's how I am on Twitter. You know, and they don't like the fact that I got big.
Right.
So they just reported me.
Are there other meme kids?
Yeah. Kids. You said it right there. They're kids.
But do you identify as a meme kid?
I identify... When I first started, I didn't know what I was going to identify as.
Mm-hmm.
Like, one day I could wake up, I can identify as a fucking turkey sandwich, you know? Mm-hmm. Next day, whatever. Right now, I identify as a guy who just posts shit that's funny right now. I do like memes, though.
You love memes?
I love memes.
You make your own memes? You use Photoshop?
Half and half. So a lot of times people send me shit, and then if I find it funny, I'll post it. If I find something funny on the timeline, I don't know who it's from, I'll post it. And then if I got the time, I'll make it on my phone.
Anyway, we were just talking about like the global pedophilia ring. Do you buy into that conspiracy?
You know what? I believe there's a real thing.
Really, you do?
I think there's a real thing.
Right.
Where people probably sit in someone's basement, you know, they probably watch a couple of soap operas.
But see, Alex Jones seems to really believe that at the top levels of society, there are all these people who are just, that's their thing, is that they just are pedophiles. And I don't understand why that's something that, I mean, maybe he really has evidence, but it seems strange to me.
I feel like that's a new way to attack someone, though.
Right.
Every day you hear someone's a pedophile or a rapist or a racist. That seems like the new go-to thing.
Right.
You know, I see it on the internet all the time now. They don't find someone funny. Oh, you're a fucking rapist.
Right.
You're a racist.
Or you're an apologist for a racist. Right? But now racist doesn't seem like it holds as much weight, so pedophile might be the new racist.
Yeah, you know what? I feel like they use it so much, it starts to lose its strength and meaning behind it, and now they need the next best thing to try to tear you down.
Right. I don't think racist really works that good anymore since we got like a racist president, so-called racist president, like actually basically is a racist president, I guess. Do you like Trump? What's up?
I don't like anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, I was one of those people. I didn't vote. I was open about it. I went on my live stream on election day because I already knew I was going to get bombarded with messages of people asking. And people ask, did you vote? I said, no, I didn't vote. I didn't like anybody.
Right.
I'm not going to force myself to vote. I'll deal with the consequences because I'm not the type to complain about who won.
Right.
Because if I voted for Trump and Hillary won, that's it. My vote didn't matter at that point. Not that it didn't matter, is we lost.
Well, you're registered to vote in New York, I'm assuming, anyway.
Yeah.
Hillary's going to win that, right?
Yes, I think she won that. Yeah.
I believe she won everything in New York. But I believe that even in Williamsburg, Trump won, which is like the craziest thing ever, that the hipsters came out. I guess all those hip, cool white people moving to Brooklyn weren't so open-minded after all, were they?
I feel like it was the whole popular vote versus the electoral votes.
Yeah.
It was the Crips and Bloods type thing going on, you know?
Right.
And
well, you look at that map, and it's all red.
It was all red.
But then she still won the popular vote.
Yeah.
He does not like that assumption, but...
And then people keep just asking me, so I just went on stream. I was like, guys, I didn't vote. You know, I'm not the type to try to divide my fan base.
Right.
Because I was damned if I do and damned if I don't.
When did you start to feel like you were building a fan base?
Probably like around 2014.
Okay. Oh, so new. Okay.
Yeah, I started in July 2012.
And so was this a deliberate decision to like start trying to be a funny dude on the internet?
What happened was I was dating this chick way back when I lived in New York. And one day I posted something on my personal Facebook.
So you don't live in New York now?
Not anymore. No.
Where do you live now?
I live in Sacramento.
Oh.
I moved here a year ago.
But you're registered to vote in Sacramento or in New York?
Not yet. I ain't bothered to register.
Gotcha.
I'm going to register once I move down here in LA.
Okay.
So hopefully sometime.
Why'd you move to Sacramento? You growing weed?
No. I moved because a lot of the people that I know live up there. And you know, I didn't want to move somewhere where I didn't know people. I wasn't well connected yet. Now I'm well connected, you know.
But you just had to get out of Harlem? Why?
It's not that I had to get out. It was just the situation in New York, right? I was born in the Bronx and raised in Harlem. I was struggling with a lot of things over there, personal relationships, family relationships. It was just a bad environment to get out of. You know, I was getting into a lot of trouble. You know, I got into a huge fucking fight right before I moved out. Like, my knuckles are busted.
Like a fight with just what, random guys on the street or something?
It was me, my best friend. We were on the train station during St. Patrick's Day, and there was a couple of Marines who were drunk, and they bumped into him. They tried to fight, so I jumped in, and we fuck him up. I got arrested. I was arrested for a whole fucking week. And it turned into a big fucking court case because they were off-duty officers.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Wow.
But they were intoxicated.
I believe it, yeah.
Yeah, and one of the guys had a butterfly knife, which is illegal.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And all that stuff came out in court?
Yeah. Wow. All of it came out. There was this Mexican lady that was watching the whole thing, and she told the cops everything. She pointed where the knife fell.
So you probably got pretty fucking lucky because they were going to take their word over yours, right?
I was going to get a minimum of 2 years. Whoa. They were going to really put me away.
And how old were you at that? How old are you right now?
I'm 28 right now.
28. So you were 26-ish at the time?
I was 24 at the time. And I ended up getting into another fight shortly after that. I took martial arts. So,
really? What did you take?
I took Taekwondo and Kyokushin Karate.
Nice.
And I have my black belt in both.
So you whooped a lot of ass in your life on the streets or what?
Until I tore my ACL.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then I had to like take a break, chill out because I realized my ACL on my right knee is fucked up.
Right.
You know, and
I'm just going to double check that the camera's still filming because of all that shit that happened before.
So, you know, tore my ACL and I hurt my back too. So
same type of thing. Was it a martial arts related injury or?
I think it was a collective of things. I was really fucking massive at the time. Really,
you are
muscular.
a big guy, very very large man.
Yeah, like right now I'm 250 pounds. Right.
And how tall? 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, just about. And at that time I was like 290 pounds with solid muscle on my body. I had to like cut weight and just like stop hitting the gym and everything. And one day I was moving shit around in my apartment and I just felt a really sharp pain in my lower back.
Really?
So I feel like things were just starting to catch up to me.
Right.
You know? And I just had to stop. I just stopped training. I stopped fighting. I tried to stay out of trouble. I was hanging out with the wrong kids. You know, one of my friends, he was really deep into Crips. You know, and I didn't want to be affiliated with any gangs. You know, so
which like have you over the course of your life seen the gang thing really become a thing, like in New York or in Harlem in particular?
The way how it's represented is completely different. You know, you go to New York and sometimes you don't even see people. You see people who you don't think are in gangs and they really are in gangs.
Right.
You know, and it's not even really called a gang anymore. It's just that's who your friends are.
But that's what's weird too is then the police essentially like try to create gangs out of thin air by saying that everybody who ever put a hashtag in their fucking Instagram profile is in a fucking gang, and then they try to create gangs. Meanwhile, like I feel like in Harlem, you'd have a tough time being like 10 guys walking around with red bandanas over your faces.
Yeah, that was such a '90s thing. You know, that was back when my favorite rapper Big L was alive.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you had Biggie,
but he was blooded up.
It's like nobody really affiliated with it. It just happened.
I just always think like late '90s New York that the Bloods and Crips thing hadn't caught on yet. But I mean, but either way, it's like Big L or any type of street dude, whatever. Like there's going to be crews or gangs or whatever. It's just the whole blooded Crip, like you know. Bucket.
It's become a social media thing now at this point. You know?
But it's also just a thing that's like considered so cool socially. Like the fact that you see everybody replacing their C's with B's in like a funny, like fun way. It's very far removed from its.
It's become
roots.
a meme at this point.
Literally,
you know, it's a meme.
Yeah.
Gang shit is actually a meme. It's as if like now people have no fear of like what really could happen, what's really happened, that we just joke about it, which is it's a good thing and a bad thing,
right?
You know, because I've seen some shit in New York. You know, I've seen someone get shot in front of me. I've seen someone get set on fire in front of me.
For what?
He owed money.
Wow.
The guy who got shot, he got shot because he stole an Afro Samurai game on Xbox 360.
He stole the game from
the game.
What, like a GameSpot?
He stole the game from
Stop
one
it.
of our friends who's a Crip.
And then, so what? This just happened in the streets, or did it happen like
He
later
pulled
when
up.
he
He
found
pulled
him?
up in his house in Queens
Or a video game
over a fucking video
and
game.
he killed him or just shot him?
He just shot him. I was outside in the house and all I heard was the shots go off.
What the fuck?
I fucking did. I was like, yo, nah. You see, I can't fuck with you guys like that.
Okay, but so is that your overall impression of like New York as a whole? Is like New York is just a little too crazy, and that you don't want to live there because it's just too buck?
I think I knew that if I stood there, like I was getting pushed over the edge, and like little things were starting to set me off.
Right.
Like it's reached the point where I was looking for trouble at that point because I was just so angry with how things were going. I could have had money and I was still angry, you know. And at that point, everything was getting expensive. You know, the whole gentrification started happening.
You really
once I was
seen
in New
that process take place throughout your life, huh?
Yeah, look at Brooklyn.
And like Harlem's fucking bad as fuck too. I mean, Harlem's crazy.
It's starting to get like better now.
Yeah.
I went there in May last year. I went there with my ex, and I couldn't even recognize it anymore.
Yeah.
I was pointing out all the spots. I was like, oh, that's where I got arrested. That's where I got jumped.
And now there's like a $8 million car parked in front of it.
Like it was crazy because I always told people there's a saying in New York: if you see white people jogging through the area at night, you know it's a good neighborhood.
Right.
And that's what I started seeing.
Yeah.
You know, I started seeing the cute white chicks in the shorts jogging and just talking to each other.
And you're like, I gotta get the fuck out of here.
I was like, what the fuck happened? You know? And I didn't move straight to California.
Oh, where'd you go?
I moved to Wisconsin first.
And what the fuck was that like?
That was horrible.
So
that was the
What a
embodiment of depression.
Right.
There was nothing to do over there besides get drunk.
But you said you wanted to move somewhere where you knew people that you could like hang out with. Who the fuck do you know in Wisconsin?
It was this girl that I was dating for a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
Off the internet?
No. What happened was I went to Virginia Beach for a while. I went there for a summer. I was just partying. I was having a good time. I met her over there through a friend. We just started dating. We just hooked up and stuff. And then so we started going back and forth. She came to New York for a while. I went to Virginia for a while. And she lost her job in Virginia. She's originally from Wisconsin.
Okay.
She wanted to move to New York with me. That's why it's too expensive. You know, we can go live in Wisconsin for a while. You know, work, save money, and then
Save some cash.
Yeah.
But God, what a fucking dreadful place,
It's
right?
a shithole.
Anything entertaining? What was the most entertaining thing in town?
The white girls.
Just girls?
Yeah, just the
But you
girls.
were there with your girlfriend?
I was there with my girlfriend.
And you were fucking around?
Until I broke up with her. I broke up with her. I kicked the fuck out of my house
So
for a month.
you cheated on her the whole time, and then you broke up with her, and then you chose to have sex with nobody?
No, what happened was I was committed to her. She pissed me off because she wasn't making any money. She was just not doing shit, you know? And so I was running a restaurant at the time, kicked her out. For that whole month, I was just fucking some of the servers over there.
Nice.
Like I fucked one in the walk-in at one point.
In the walk-in?
Yeah. She was the girlfriend of the boss's son.
Girlfriend of the boss. That doesn't seem like a good idea for your future career prospects.
Yeah. Sorry if you're watching this.
That's all right.
Man, I felt bad afterwards. You know, I was the only Hispanic dude over there that wasn't Mexican and that was over 5'6".
So you're Puerto Rican?
I'm Puerto Rican, Dominican, French. Okay. So I identify as Dominican though. That's where that's the majority of my family come from.
Okay.
And this is a gorgeous cat.
He is a good looking guy. Huh? He's 40,000 Instagram followers or something? 30,000?
Like that.
I forget. He's pretty popping.
Damn. So, you know, I did my thing in Wisconsin. I made a whole bunch of money over there, and you know,
legal money.
Legal money.
So you're just working. You weren't.
I was legit working 81 hours.
81.
81 hours.
Jeez, but you probably were pretty bored, so it probably seemed like a good idea to just busy yourself, huh?
You know what? I worked at a hotel and ran a restaurant at the same time. So I was meeting all kinds of people, especially at the hotel business.
Right.
You know, so it was helping me out dealing with a lot of the issues, you know, and making money was always a good thing. How I made money in New York wasn't legal.
What were you doing out there? Scamming?
Not scamming. I was fighting in the Bronx for money.
Fighting?
Fighting.
Like
legit fighting.
Like chicken fighting. Like they put you in a ring.
It
and
was
they...
pretty much like that.
Really?
Yeah, I did for a whole year.
A whole year? And how much would you get paid to do something like this?
Sometimes you wouldn't get paid much. The first fight, I didn't get paid anything.
How'd you get into this? You are a very large man, so I guess I can see how it kind of makes sense.
It was one of my friends. He was this Jamaican dude. And he put me on. I told him, I was like, yo, I need money, but I don't want to rob anybody. You know, I was young.
Right.
I was 18, 19 years old. I was, you know, fresh into college. I was seeing myself getting into debt. you know, and my mom was poor. She was on disability. My stepdad was in and out of jail.
Right.
And every morning, every night, I saw my mom crying. I'm just like, I need to do something.
Right.
You know, and I was working at GameStop at the time. And I told myself, this is not cutting it. I was making $9.50 an hour.
Right.
And so he put me on. He told me, yo, come with me to the Bronx. You know, we're going to go to the South Bronx. And I'm going to show you something. And we went to a barbershop that had a basement. And in that barbershop, that's what they did, all their shit over there. I've seen people cut up cocaine and box it up and send it out.
Really?
Yeah.
Like large amounts?
Large amounts, bro. It actually got raided at one point.
Really?
Yeah, and they closed it down and it ended up on New York One, which is the #1 New York source of news next to Daily News and shit like that.
I knew a girl that was dating a cop in New York, and she told me that there's like a whole that there was a list of like bodegas that in every area that they couldn't go into or that they wouldn't want anything to do with because so many bodegas are basically like homes for dealing or doing fucked up shit. Fighting in the basement's not what I expected. But
yeah, well, we called them. They were hot. We knew. We walked by and we'd be like, yo, that spot is hot right there. Mm-hmm. If you want to go in, be careful. You know, if you don't, we know.
I think you can tell because you walk in and there's like no honey buns. If they got like a full rack of fresh new honey buns, then they're probably actually trying to sell food.
On the contrary, if you go you go in there and they got nothing but honey buns, then you know that place is probably hot.
Right.
You know, you go in there, you see a Dominican dude in the front, but then all they got is honey buns and like cat food. Mm-hmm. That spot is hot.
Okay.
Yeah, and I remember at one point. This is how I found out one of these spots was hot. I went in there and asked the dude how much was a bottle of Poland Spring water. Mm-hmm. He didn't even know. He just gave it to me. He was just like, yo, just take it. I was like, yo, deadass?
Just take it.
Yeah. I was like, yo, deadass, do I just take it? And he was like, yeah, just take it. He was like, yo, we busy right here. Some Puerto Rican guy came out. Mm-hmm. He was like, yo, we busy over here, man. What you need?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, shit, damn.
God,
okay.
you couldn't make it much more obvious to a person.
Exactly.
You know? Because how are you not going to like, say your uncle's a fucking cop and you're not going to mention that story? Like, that's pretty stupid on their part, huh?
Yeah. And you know, people just don't give a fuck over there. I've seen girls get jumped by dudes in front of cops, and they just go,
What? Really?
Yeah, it happened.
When you were real young? Because I feel like nowadays it's hard to get away with anything in New York.
Well, now it is.
Yeah.
But I'm talking like 10 years ago, too. You know, at that time, I remember one time I was walking with my mom, and there was a legit shootout, and the guy pulled out a gun, shot this dude that was right behind us. We were coming out of the subway. Shoots the dude right behind us, and the cops are across the street in front of a pizzeria. If you're from New York, 103rd and Lex, right in front of the subway. Shoots the dude, and the cops are standing there. There's a precinct right down the street, and the guy runs. No cops follow this guy.
Why do you think that they didn't follow him?
I feel like at this point, they just don't care. Like, what really happens? You get arrested, you get processed, they put you away, and that's it. And these guys, they don't want to go out of their way anymore.
Right.
Because it doesn't really benefit them anymore.
Yeah, like I had a friend who was like a cop, and he was telling me one time that the whole like explanation for why like the NYPD is fucked is because it's basically like a culture of laziness in the sense where if you become a cop and your attitude is like, oh, I'm going to go out and I'm going to stop crime and I'm going to, save all these people and stop all this injustice and blah, 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 that people tend to, that other cops will look down on you from like a cultural perspective because they don't want to have to work harder. They feel like they're already working pretty hard. And if anybody else steps it up, they're going to be viewed as not doing a good enough job. So that kind of explains why there is so much sloven behavior. I'm terrible with words right now. I've been partying too much this weekend.
I was going to be a cop.
You thought about it?
Yeah. I went to criminal justice, John Jay Criminal Justice. I was going to be a cop right out of high school. And one of my friends passed the academy and everything, and he told me some of the dirt they were doing. I was like, I didn't want to be part of that.
Fucked up like corrupt shit?
It was like crazy shit, man.
Really?
Yeah, it was one of my friends. His name was Steven. He was already in the force way ahead of me. And he told me that he didn't meet his quota, so they sent him to a really shitty neighborhood in Queens to talk to people that didn't speak English, that he knew didn't have identification, so he can get something from them.
Wow.
Yeah, and then when I heard that shit, I was like, nah, man. I've done some fucked up shit, but I can't do something like that.
So wait, he didn't meet his quota, so they sent him to basically go after these people. And
Yeah.
when you say get something, meaning like arrest them, because
And anything that can put them away.
so that when they don't meet their quota, they go for the people who are like completely defenseless. Like
Yeah, because
right.
most of the time they don't speak English or even have identification or
Right.
even working papers.
And there's whole little like mini like communities in New York of certain like ethnicities where people are just sort of in their own little fucking world, and it's almost like hard to imagine a cop even having anything to do with that because they're just this own little nest, you know.
Sometimes you'll walk out and you'll just see cops posted in the corner. They're not really paying attention. They're just having their own conversation, and then everybody's just going about their business.
Right.
And then suddenly, in the blink of an eye, you see someone getting handcuffed.
And for a long time in LA, like I live in Koreatown, and it was like Koreatown was largely left alone by the cops because they're real into the prostitution thing and they're real into smoking indoors and all these little clubs and stuff like that. And I guess like even once they really started to clean LA up, they didn't really clean up Koreatown because they just like viewed it as this other community. They don't understand it. Fuck it. Let them do whatever they want. And then like over the past 5 years or something, they finally like stopped all the indoor smoking and all the hooking and shit.
That's how it is in Chinatown, New York. You go over there and you got prostitutes posted in the block. You see cops walking, but you see hookers posted up, and you see people selling illegal bags, stolen goods and stuff right out of a bag.
Right.
You know, they'll walk up straight up to you, show you what's in the bag. If you want it, you buy it. If you don't, you bounce. And everybody just minds their business. They don't do anything about it.
You have to know what you can get away with, basically. You know, like if you hung out on Chinatown and downtown New York long enough, you'd start to like get into the routine. You'd figure out. But you know what? This is the thing that fucking scares the shit out of me about New York when I go there now is like. It feels like there's no cops here in comparison to New York. I go to downtown Manhattan and it feels like this is the most cops I've ever seen anywhere.
Mostly because of the tourism.
Oh, yeah.
They want to protect the tourists.
Because it's a huge terrorist target, too. So
Yeah.
it's like...
You if you've never been to New York and you ask people around, oh, what's to do? They'll say, go to Times Square.
Yeah.
And then people stay in that general area.
Times Square is the other zone that is just so many fucking cops. Downtown and Times Square is just insane.
They're mostly worried about the heavily popular areas, especially after 9/11 and shit. They stay posted there because they know if you're a tourist, you're not going to go to the Bronx. You're not going to go to Staten Island.
Kill 4 people by blowing up a building. You're going to go for the gusto and try to get that 20,000 person event at a stadium.
Yeah, you're trying to get that good kill to death ratio. You know?
Hell, that really is. Yeah,
and they're kind of smart and dumb about it, you know. And on top of that, you know, cops are people too. They get scared on duty. They know that if they're in a bad neighborhood, that their life is more in jeopardy than being in Times Square.
Right.
No one's going to pull out a fucking assault rifle and shoot down the block in Times Square. Oh, I hope not. But
what are your thoughts on stop and frisk?
I got stopped and frisked plenty of times.
Oh, plenty of times. Really, it's like very common. Like so as a guy who was living in Harlem, how intrusive was it?
It started happening after the whole Trayvon Martin thing.
Right. So what? 2009, 10?
Just about that.
Okay.
What they started doing is in Grand Central, they put out a table. Grand Central, the train stop, they put out a table where if you have a backpack, they can just grab it and search it.
See, I was still around for this. I just don't remember them doing it unless you had a backpack. I think that came after.
Well, at one point, I had a string bag on, right? And I had a hoodie on. And they came and followed me outside of the train station. Granted, it was like 10 o'clock at night, and I was getting out of work. They straight up stopped me, and they were like, we got to search your bag because it looks like it's really heavy. There's something in there. I'm like, I got sneakers in my bag. They go and they search it, and they're like, why are you wearing a hoodie? I'm like, well, it's cold.
Yeah.
You know, it was October. And I was just, yo, it's cold out here. They're like, where are you going? I'm going home. They're like, where you live at? I'm like, I live on 103rd Street, 6th train line, and I'm trying to go there right now. It was like, well, you came downstairs and you stepped right back up. Oh, my phone rang. They're like, okay, move along. Same thing. Again, same stop.
What, like how long, how much later?
I think it was like a couple months later.
So does this strike you, as a person having this happen to you, does it strike you as a racist thing or a classist thing or just an over-policing thing?
The guy who did was black.
Right.
The first guy who did was this fat black dude who did. And I don't know if it's like a racism thing or if it's something they're just told to do.
Right.
Because I wear a hoodie all the time.
I wear a hoodie literally every moment of the day that it's not hot.
Yeah, when I was a student, I still wore my hoodie until they told me to take it off.
Right.
And I just didn't understand what was the whole suspicious thing behind that. So, and I see people walking around with their hoodies. They didn't get stopped. But the time that I did get arrested, I got arrested in Nassau County. Yeah.
What are you doing out there?
I was dating this girl who was going to college out there, and there was a dorm party. And I was fucking her and the roommate in there, and there was these dudes
Both
in
of
the
them?
hallway. Yeah, both of them.
Condom?
No.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't even know what a condom is. And these dudes kept on knocking on the door. They're drunk, and I'm trying to sleep. You know, I'm exhausted. Just fucking did my cardio and shit. And they keep knocking on the door, being rude. So I open the door, and I'm like, yo, who's knocking on the door? And they're standing in the corner laughing. So I straight up said to the door, I was like, yo, my guy, if you're going to knock on the door and you're going to be an asshole, and I got to open this door one time, I'm going to fuck you up. He thought I was kidding. As soon as I turn around and I close the door, I hear the knock again, and I just opened it, and I went straight for him. What got me in trouble was when the security came and pulled me over, it was real cops. It wasn't like some security with just walking.
So this guy was just some guy picking a fight with you?
Yeah, that's essentially what he was trying to do.
How big was he? You don't seem like the kind of guy that I would want to just like start a fight with.
He was probably like 6'2".
Okay.
You know, he was like moderately tall.
At just some dorm?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I could see how a college kid would be that douchey to think that was funny.
So
yeah.
the dorm was divided into like a quiet side and a loud side.
Right.
We were in the quiet side too. So
But you're fucking two chicks, so you're being loud as hell.
we was trying not to be loud.
Okay. You're like moaning like King Kong, just beating on your chest and shit.
You know, like at one point I sent one of the chicks to go get me a sandwich. And I kept
Boss shit.
I was like, yo, can you go to the cafeteria? She was like, oh, how much do you have? I was like, what? And she was like, okay, I'll be right back.
she was gonna.
Yeah, like she was asking me to give her my money. I was like,
That's a New York bitch. She knows she got a meal plan. She wanted that $6 from you, and so that she could get it for free.
She thought I had like a WIC check or something. Like,
Yeah.
nah.
You know what? That's a scam. If any girl out there on earth wants to get $500 out of me, all she has to tell me is that she's pregnant. Any
True.
girl I've ever
Yeah.
fucked, I could have fucked her 5 years ago. She's like, I'm pregnant, I need an abortion. Boom, $500. I'm sending it to you
there
right
you
away.
go. $500.
Boom. Anybody. If I fucked you, $500. It's yours.
$500. Here you go. Leave me alone. Go get that. Abortion.
Actually, in reality, you have 9 months from the date that we have sex. Otherwise, no chance.
I try making them sign a little waiver now.
Do
Through
you?
text message.
You
Yeah.
wait. You have a waiver?
No, not an actual waiver. I try to get the consent through a text message.
Oh, really?
Yeah, some chick try to fuck you over, man.
Wow. I mean, that's a very you're thinking way ahead there. Have you had that issue in the past?
I'm a
You were falsely
businessman.
accused?
I'm a businessman.
Have you
Oh,
been-
I've had that before.
Right.
Yeah, like there's one chick, one of my exes. She was like, "Oh, I think I'm pregnant. I want to get back with you. Maybe we could start a family." I'm like, No, that's not gonna happen. I was like, I haven't seen you in like 4 months.
Right.
How are you now just realizing you're pregnant?
Right.
Maybe you fat. Like you fucking crazy. Like I'm not gonna just try to take care of you and then this could be someone else's baby.
But so then
too.
she said that you raped her?
No, what she was trying to say was,
Oh, the
you're
baby.
you're the dad, you're the last person. If it's yours and I know it's yours, I'm gonna put you on child support and this and that. It's kind of like scamming me.
It is.
At
It's
one
just
point.
like a scam.
Yeah,
Because
and
they know that they might be able to trick some guy into paying for it for a couple of years at least,
Yeah, and then what happens? She wasn't pregnant.
Yeah.
She wasn't
I
pregnant.
saw that ending coming.
Yeah, like I would have wasted who knows how much of my time with her, and she's trying to extort money out of me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna deal with that.
You could have been a Maury.
Yeah,
You ever dream of-
it couldn't ruin my reputation.
You ever
too.
dream of that, being a Maury?
I've had nightmares about that. There's no greater feeling than finding out you're not the dad.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to be honest, I've never really even had like a serious pregnancy scare.
Oh, then you live in life. Then.
And I'd be fucking too. I don't know. I just think that I have a really strong seal on my penis. It's just there's no pre-cum or very little.
Or you eat a lot of microwave food.
I smoke a lot of weed. Do you think does that lower? It does lower your sperm count actually.
I used to smoke a lot of weed too.
You don't do it anymore?
No, I had to stop.
What happened?
It was like making me really, really fucking tired.
Right.
I've had white widow. I used to smoke a lot of white widow.
Okay.
And
What's that? I don't even know what that is.
that's some New York shit.
Okay.
I can't legally even say what that is.
What, you put heroin in it?
Cocaine.
Coke? Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
But I've read shit online that said that putting coke in your weed doesn't actually like get you high on coke, but
Sometimes it fucks with you.
I've smoked blunts with coke in them and got fucking destroyed for like the rest of the day, like
Yeah.
acting all weird and shit. And like
Yeah.
then I found out later, like I had a
was laced.
bunch of dope in it. Yeah.
Yeah, like there was a video of me sitting down on the floor having a conversation with a dog in the wall.
Really?
Yeah, because I take big hits. I got big lungs. I'm a big dude, so I'm taking big hits, and I ain't know what was in there.
Right.
And it was around the first time I started smoking. I was in Hell's Kitchen, and we there smoking it, stuff like that. And my cousin put me on weed. I wasn't smoking with him. I was smoking with some other dudes,
Yeah.
and it just fucked me up.
Last night when I was at the Cameron show, which is a coincidence because you're from Harlem, he was basically just like, I knew he was going to come out because I saw all of these guys just standing outside with New York fitteds on. Not fitteds, they're probably snapbacks these days, but basically like the one that you're wearing. And I just realized, I'm like, oh, he's about to be here, because it's like whenever you see a guy in a New York fitted or a New York hat in general, you know that there's New York guys coming. It's very, very clear. You would never see some guy from LA rocking the New York fitted.
Yeah.
Is that your way of like showing the world, like, yes, I'm out here in Wisconsin, I'm in Sacramento, I'm in Hollywood, whatever, but I'm still a New Yorker because I have this hat on?
I think it's just because it fits my big ass head.
Is it a snapback or a fitted?
It's a fitted.
Oh wow, okay, so you're still on the fitted wave.
Yeah, I'm wearing a size 8.
Okay, you're an 8. Me too.
Yeah,
I have a big ass head.
Yeah, and you know, I got. You can't see it, but I have long curly hair.
Okay,
so I got actually tie it up so the hat fits. And I wear my Giants hat occasionally. You know, when I was in Wisconsin, I developed this New York pride thing.
Right. Yeah.
So that people know this is where I'm from. I'm not from around here.
Because when you're there, you don't really recognize that it's that. Well, just where you're from in general, you don't really like. When you were young, do you remember when you realized like, oh fuck, I live in the middle of fucking society. This is like where like a huge portion of our culture derives from here in New York. Do you remember when that kind of kicked in?
It kicked in when I started getting into more trouble.
Right.
And it especially kicked in once I moved out.
Right.
When people started hearing me speak, you know, I started saying, people hear me say dead ass. Now it's a meme, but that's a legit thing.
It was just a normal thing to say for a long time. And now it's like the New York thing to say.
Like I was in the Chipotle a year ago in Sacramento, and I heard this guy who was wearing plaid shorts. It was this white guy, and he was like, "Oh, this guac is dead ass the best guac out here."
Right.
And I'm just like, "Are you from New York?" He goes, "Oh no, man. I was born and raised here in Sacramento." I'm just like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
He's like, "Why you ask?" I was just wondering.
That's shocking.
I didn't want to press the issue, but then it hit me. I was like, "Wow, it's actually a thing out here."
Yeah.
But people see it as a meme.
Well, some of the best memes are those ones with like the Yankees fitted, the Tims, and then it's like dead ass B, and it's like okay, you nailed it. That is like half the guys in New York.
You haven't lived until you fucked in Tims.
Do you do that on the regs?
I have done it before.
How many pairs of Tims do you think you own in your life?
Ooh.
Because I think I only had one. I don't think I ever fucked in them.
I owned a couple, but they stopped fitting me.
Your feet got bigger.
Yeah, because I'm a size 14 right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm a 13.
And that's hard to find.
13 you can find. 14 is impossible.
Yeah, it's almost impossible.
13 is pretty tough.
I had to fit into a size 13's Tims, and it fit okay, you know. But I used to wear Tims since I was a size 10 and on, so I was getting Tims and then throwing them out or giving them away, and then just restocking over and over.
Because if you're a New York guy, your Tims are your lifeblood.
That's your pride, man.
Yeah, that's your
pride. So
pride.
you step on someone's Jordans or your Tims, that's a fight.
That's a fight waiting to happen.
I've seen someone step on someone else's sneakers. I think it was Jordans, and the guy made him clean it.
Really?
Right there. Yeah, in the train in front of everybody.
Wow.
And the dude was shook. He was scared, man.
And that's just like the craziest thing in the world is that like stepping on somebody's shoes could be the big thing that you have to fight over because of the fact that it's so impossible to avoid. Like at something like the subway where everybody's just crammed in like fucking sardines.
Well, it's expensive.
It is expensive.
Yeah,
that's why it's kind of crazy to put $150 things on your feet casually.
Yeah. Like so right now, I'm just wearing my walking shoes because I don't want to walk in my expensive dress shoes.
Right.
Because when I'm not wearing this, I like wearing my business casual. You know.
So you have a different look for LA is like a more streetwear look, and when you're back home,
it depends what I'm doing.
Okay.
You know, I get invited into a lot of events now, especially now that as I get bigger on social media, people want to throw free shit at me.
It's great, isn't it?
It's amazing,
man. I love it.
I fucking love it. I check my email, and it's like, hey, man, we got this going on. You want to come through? We'll give you the free bag of this. We'll pay for your hotel.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. I don't know what about me that you want, but I'll do it.
Yeah.
As long as you got some liquor and some food and some chicks.
I probably had 10 kids offer me drugs last night at the rap show.
You
like
get
free drugs.
You know you've made it when you get free drugs.
But it's super scary. Like that's like rappers have like albums about this, about how it like ruins their lives because it's like, you know, there's a certain point in your life where it's like you're going to do X amount of drugs because that's all you can afford. And then there's a certain point where it's like, oh, now it's infinity.
It just comes to you. Now.
I said no to all of them somehow. I just had a few beers last night somehow.
I've learned I had to say no.
Yeah.
I had to learn to have moderation, even moderation.
So were you ever a drug guy?
I
weed?
was addicted to painkillers.
Oh, what age?
From 16 to when I was 20.
So what? You get hurt and then you just get on pain pills or something?
it was like I was telling myself, I'm hurt, I need these pain pills. And my mom's addicted to pain pills. So I used to steal them from her.
Oh, geez.
And sometimes I would even sell them if I needed money. And I have a sister that used to work in the hospital, and my mom would get pain pills from her. I'll go inside the medicine cabinet, snatch them, and be like, Mom, I've been using them. I finished them. I'm sorry. You know, I used to crush them up. I used to do everything like that.
Really? That's so crazy because that's such like a common thing these days. It's almost like the cool thing to do. I had rappers on here in like the last couple of weeks who are sitting there like talking about taking perks and they're sitting there drinking lean and they think it's all good. And I'm just thinking like, no, it's bad. Please stop.
It took me a while to get myself out of that hole.
Right.
Because it's like I was in pain every single day. And you reach this high that you're never going to get.
Right.
And you keep seeking that high.
Oh, yeah. Because it's like you're on a cloud all day when you're off the Vicodins or whatever, where you're just floating through life. And
I took something that was stronger than Vicodin.
Okay.
I forgot what the name was. It started with a D.
Probably before Oxys and all that shit came out, because that's like the extreme version of it, huh?
I got it from someone who had surgery.
Yeah.
And they prescribed it to her. And I took that. I was like, yo, I need more. I feel really fucking good. My back doesn't hurt. My knee doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
I feel awake. You know, I hit the gym. I was in the bodybuilding phase. And I was my PRs. I was lifting way more. At one point, I maxed out 425 benching because of pain pills.
And that's all those bodybuilder dudes. Pain pills are a huge thing with them because like a lot of the steroids and shit, they fuck you up, and like having to fucking inject yourself with insulin and all that bullshit that they do.
Especially weed. You could do weed.
They're super into weed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. One of my friends, Bradley Martin, he's into weed. Yeah.
That's cool that you know him. He's fire.
Awesome guy, man.
And he's into weed.
Yeah. He smokes his
exclusive. Weed. Is that? Does he talk about it on his channel ever or anything? No. That's tight that he does that. No. Well, I had a rapper on here the other day who was talking about doing Xanax with Chance the Rapper. Which is, I don't think, public info.
Yeah, I don't think that's public info.
But nobody said shit on Twitter. Nobody cared. So,
you know, how I see it is, it's such a normal thing now. You know?
But Chance the Rapper's like a family man, Christian, kids.
That could potentially ruin
That's why I was a little
image.
surprised that he talked about it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, it's painkillers, and people don't really think that it's a bad thing.
Right.
But sometimes all it takes is a nice shot of Patron and some Percocets to really fuck you up.
That's what people don't realize is that you could be on any kind of pain pill and you take a fucking shot and all of a sudden it's just lights out, or it's so much more powerful.
You're not even allowed to take ibuprofen if you do professional mixed martial arts.
You're not allowed to take ibuprofen?
No.
Wow. That's intense. Because those guys are getting nabbed for everything under the fucking sun. They test positive for... It's almost impossible to imagine a fighter really doing real steroids because they get popped for like, you know... Well, I don't know. Do you think John Jones is lying when he says that he got popped because of a fucking... Like, they thought it was an estrogen blocker. He said that it was some illicit chemical that was inside of a dick pill.
You know what? I kind of believe him because he was partying a lot. You know, at one point...
I knew people who would tell me like he's the craziest party animal in Albuquerque. Like you see him at the bar all the time and shit. And that's basically exactly what he said.
Well, one of my friends, he blew up on Instagram, and he saw how easy it was to get chicks just from having a social media status.
Right.
And he fucked so much that he got desensitized and he couldn't even get it up. He was doing a lot of coke. You know, his heart was always racing, and he just started popping Viagra. A half an hour before he went to go fuck a chick that he knew he was about to fuck, pop a Viagra.
That's a scary addiction right there. I don't want that addiction.
I'm glad my dick works because I don't want to ever... You can get a heart attack from that.
Yeah. Coke and Viagra are like supposedly like you really don't want to do that at the same time.
That's oil and water right there. You don't want to mix that.
Yeah, because when I heard John Jones talking about taking pills so he could get a better boner, I'm sitting there thinking like most of the times in my life where I've done drugs like Coke or Molly, it makes it so you can barely fucking stay hard. Yeah. I'm like, maybe I should try out one of these other sides of drugs that gets you a fucking rock hard boner for 8 hours. It sounds a little too fun.
I feel like he partied so hard that he just couldn't feel his body anymore.
Right.
Because imagine, he's young, he's in his 20s, he's a fucking multimillionaire.
Yeah.
And he got a lot of money thrown at him in a very short amount of time.
And he's in Albuquerque. It's not like it's in Hollywood where you could go make a bunch of rich friends and hang out and do all this rich people shit. It's like you're surrounded by other poor people. And so if you go to the bar and everybody knows you got $40 million in the bank and everybody else has $400 in the bank, it's like, how do you not buy a round of shots? And that's what he was saying. He was like, you know, I became that guy where everywhere I went, I wanted to be the life of the party. I wanted to get everybody happy, blah, blah, blah. And it's easy to see how you can get there as a rich fool, you know?
Yeah. And you know what? There was a point in my life where I started making money. I saw the money coming in and stuff. For the first time, I saw I wasn't overdrafted on my account. And I just wanted to treat everybody around me. And it's like, you make friends that way.
Exactly.
But the wrong kind of friends. And he got so caught up living that life. You know, but what's $1 million?
Yeah,
really.
But that's the thing too, is that it's like I feel like I've had a very like slow, gradual grind to being like very, very comfortable financially. But it's like I'm just so glad that I didn't have like and even when I was young and I did kind of have a bunch of money when I was like 19, 20, it was like I was so deathly scared of getting in trouble for the shit that I was doing because I was scamming and shit.
Yeah.
That I was just it never felt like I had a bunch of money because I was way too scared to spend it.
I reached a point because I've been working since I was 13. My first job was washing dishes off the books.
Actually delivering the newspaper at 13, yeah.
I tried doing that. I couldn't do it.
Terrible job.
I couldn't do it. They wanted me up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I was just like, nah, fuck that. I have to be
and you
at
have to be at school at 6:30, so you
Yeah.
got to get up at 4. It's like the world.
I was like, fuck that, man. So
I
I
mean,
just
if you could go to bed at 8 p.m., sure. But I've never done that before.
I couldn't do that. Even when I was a kid, I couldn't go to sleep before time.
I can't go to bed before 4 a.m.
I'm at that point right now. If the sun comes up, I'm like, okay, it's time to go.
We're internet kids. If you're an internet kid, you got to stay up late.
Yeah, I have to. Twitter is popping 24/7, and because of what we do, we have to be there for.
Okay, what's your Twitter ritual? My Twitter ritual, just to throw this out there, is I wake up, I get food, and then while I'm eating the food, I will sit there and scroll through Twitter for the whole time I'm eating the food and try to get through like 2, 3, 4 hours of it, follow a bunch of people, and then at night, again, I'll do it again. But I try not to do this Twitter binge during the day. Maybe with lunch.
It's kind of hard. What I do is if I'm actually sleeping, the first thing I do when I wake up, my phone is right next to my head.
Right.
Scroll right through.
See, that's what I'm trying. I try to stay away from that because it's a weird thing to wake up and all of a sudden just be inside of Twitter.
Have you ever sat on the toilet and you actually legit taking a shit?
Yeah.
And you just pull out the phone, and then you just got lost, and your leg just falls asleep because you're on Twitter.
Your asshole is just like open. It's like the size of a coffee can because you've been spreading it for so long.
But there's beef on the timeline, and you're trying to see what's good, and your leg falls asleep.
And the problem is too, and losers out there might not know this, is that once you're popping, you could just look at your notifications all day.
All day.
They never stop.
All day. Like right now, I'm scared to look at my notifications.
Right.
Because the minute I put on Snapchat,
Yeah.
I'm on No Jump It right now.
Like if we were to stop doing this interview right now, it might take me like 5-10 minutes to get through my notifications because of the fact that I said one controversial thing earlier.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Okay, but so what's your opinion on just like, have you ever had a tweet that you thought was really funny but was so offensive that you then had to take it down?
No, because they will force me to take it down or take it down for me.
Oh, they take it down. Right.
Yeah.
But what have you had removed?
That was offensive.
I had a T-shirt wrapped around my head and I wrote something about ISIS and I got that taken off YouTube and Instagram.
It was a joke that I said that was, shit. It was something about the Jew, Hitler turning the Jews into toast because Jesus fed 5,000 with loaves of fish and something like that. And I put it on
sounds really offensive.
Yeah, I put it on Facebook because the minute you say Hitler on Facebook, gone.
You can't even say. You think really? Do they have like a filter that like automatically pulls it up so the employees can
go on Facebook and type Hitler did nothing wrong? It'll be gone within 24 hours.
Really?
Yeah, they don't fuck around, man.
Where did that meme come from? I have seen people saying that on my comments sometimes.
It's called ironic humor.
Oh yeah.
You say what you don't really mean.
Yeah.
You know, just like what PewDiePie did. He said.
But it feels like Hitler did nothing wrong has become a sort of specific one.
Hitler's been really respected on the internet when he shouldn't be. So it's like that alone is a meme itself.
Well, what I think part of the problem is that people are so quick to compare Trump to Hitler that now Hitler is becoming sort of like a meme because Trump is a meme.
Yeah. They'll compare anyone that they don't like to Hitler.
Right. And our president is such a goddamn meme. Every day he's just becomes more and more of a meme.
That's probably why he won the election.
Yeah. Memes stick in your head. That's what they do.
I'm probably going to run for election in 2024 because of that. Because I got hope. I got hope, man.
I got faith in you. How did you end up beefing with Lupe Fiasco? That's probably one thing that people really want us to unveil. This is how I came to know of you.
Lupe Fiasco. This was a whole weekend fiasco, really.
No pun
intended. What happened was I go on Twitter, right? And I followed him. I actually was a fan of this guy. I used to listen to his music. I remember when his album came out. I was a freshman in college.
I was a fan of Kick Push and then nothing else ever again after that.
I was
never listened to anything after
I listened to The Cool.
Okay.
That was one of my favorites.
I remember people still talking about that, yeah.
That was definitely one of my favorites.
Okay.
So I go on Twitter and I see that he tweeted that Mortal Kombat is for people who can't play Street Fighter. Yeah. And I play Mortal Kombat. I'm really fucking good at it. And I tweeted him, well, if that's what you believe, play me in Street Fighter. I bet I'll 5-0 you. Ignores it. So I tweeted him, I called him a bitch. An hour later, I go and I stream to my fans. I'm a Twitch streamer. And I come back and my Twitter is lit up. Mm-hmm. He's ranting. My fans are arguing with him. So I tweeted him right back. And we just going at it the whole time. And the funniest thing about it, he has 1 million something followers, right? He's verified.
And he's arguing about whether Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat is better.
Exactly. And at this point, we're just fucking with him. Mm-hmm. At this point, my fans are taking pictures of him and photoshopping him. You know, they're throwing the crying Jordan on him.
So he's basically being trolled, but he probably at this point didn't really realize that was what was happening.
He started getting violent at one point. He started making threats.
That's definitely not the way to do it, yeah.
And I'm going along with it.
Because if you want to fuck with an internet kid, the worst thing you can do is threaten violence against him.
Well, he's a black belt.
Oh, he is? Really?
Yeah, he's a 10th degree black belt, I heard.
Wow, good for him. That's tight.
You know, to me, nothing scares me. You know, I've seen it all.
Are you a black belt or you just been in it?
Oh, I'm a black belt.
Oh, you are? Right, okay. Did you say that already?
Mm-hmm. I got 2 black belts.
Drugs. Blame it on drugs. Yeah. Sorry. All right.
And to me, like, you threaten someone over the internet, that's fucking funny.
It just makes you look bad.
Yeah, like
almost always.
He says, "Oh, come to Chicago. He had a concert or something. How he will beat my ass with a fucking controller or some shit." Right. I'm like, this guy doesn't know that I'm twice his size. There's no way you're not gonna touch me, bro.
Right.
You know, it's beneficial for me. I'll fucking sue you.
And you were offering to play him in a video game. Which...
I tweeted him. I was like, what's your PSN we can play?
Right.
No one even has to know. I just want to play you. Because a lot of people accuse him of being a fraud.
Right.
And
his image is really kind of taking a shit over the last few years.
He lost his fucking mind. That's what it is. He lost his fucking mind. You know, he's almost 40. He's still part of a scene where he's trying to keep up. He's trying to remain relevant. No disrespect to Lupe.
I wonder what size venues he plays or how he does with touring and stuff, because that's pretty much where all the money is as a rapper, and I can't really imagine that it's that great for him.
He's declined, man.
Yeah.
You know, he's declined. He knows this. The dude is in the gaming community.
Where did that come from?
It's so random. How you go from I don't even know if he's a platinum artist.
Right.
You know, he probably is. I don't know. But how do you go from even that level to I play Street Fighter?
For attention.
Yeah, for attention, you know.
Well, can I say this, though? I agree with him. Street Fighter is like way more advanced and technical than Mortal Kombat. And there's a reason why they have these giant competitions for Street Fighter and not so much for Mortal Kombat, right? Because the controls are more intricate and a little bit more nuanced.
Oranges. Yeah. I'm a Tekken guy.
But okay, see, I was a Mortal Kombat 2 / like Street Fighter 2 Turbo era. That was like my era where I was obsessed with fighting games. And like, I just remember that being kind of the consensus was that Street Fighter 2 was very technical and nuanced, and that Mortal Kombat 2 was you rip their head off, there's blood, it's cool.
The thing is, I played Mortal Kombat because one, there is a big learning curve to it. You could get bodied immediately if you don't know what the fuck you're doing.
See, my experience stops at like MK2, pretty much.
I've been playing all of them.
Oh, okay. See.
And I'm into the fast-paced kind of gaming.
Yeah.
You know, and Street Fighter is just boring to me. I sit down there, okay, I do a 4-hit, 6-hit combo on you, and then I do the same thing over again. And then I block. Then I hit you with a Hadouken or some sort of a projectile.
So you know that, but you 100% believe that you're better than Lupe at Street Fighter, or was that a little bit of a troll?
No, I legit believe I was better than him.
Okay.
Because I used to I almost went pro.
Really?
On that, yeah. I used to go to Chinatown Fair and used to play against people who are now pro, like Justin Wong.
Really?
And a lot of these people.
And these are people who make a living playing Street Fighter too?
Living.
Who do they get sponsored by at a certain point, or are they all just streamers?
Streamers, but they do get sponsored though.
Oh, by who?
People like Monster Gaming.
Really?
Big sponsors, man.
Well, I mean, I had Nate Shot on here, and he's got a fucking gold medal. I am a BMX rider who the only X Games gold medalist that I've ever interviewed was a Call of Duty gold medalist, which I think is kind of neat.
Yeah. Yep.
But, I don't know. Wait, so I feel like well, let's go back to the Lupe thing. So did this ever end with any, like, big crazy thing? Or?
So what happened, it died down, right? He started being racist towards my fans.
Saying Mexican shit or what?
Because some of them that were tweeting them were white or Hispanic. And he was being racist towards them. I was like, yo, you need to chill. I know you mad, but you haven't played me yet. You're talking all this shit and you still haven't played me.
Right.
We could bet money, man. I told him, I was like, I'll put up $5,000. You don't have to bet anything. I'll beat you.
Yeah.
What you have to lose. You scare your reputation.
Well, that's why he wouldn't do it. It's because he has something to lose. And that's probably why he shouldn't be playing Street Fighter 2 publicly.
Well, that's another thing. What happened was he played a pro named Daigo.
Okay.
And he beat Daigo.
Okay.
Right? But
was this the thing that was like, it was on YouTube and it like kind of went viral at a certain point? But okay,
but
yeah, I remember this.
Everybody knows it was fake.
Right,
And he was
yeah.
writing the coattails of it.
I remember reading the comments and nobody bought it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fake. And I called him out on it. I was like, you really expect people to believe? You can't go around saying you're the best and you refuse competition.
Right.
You know, it just doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
You go on Twitter and you challenge one of the pros to a friendly, they'll be like, okay, let's play. If they have time, they'll play you.
Right.
Because they know that they'll more than likely beat you. They're pros for a reason. And this guy was just doing everything to avoid it. So it died down. He deleted his tweets. I kept mine up. You could still find my version and my part of the exchange on Twitter.
Right.
He deletes it. A week later, he tweets some inspirational shit. All I did was reply with LMAO, blocked.
Okay.
And that was it.
And that was the end of it.
Yeah. He knew immediately. And at one point, he tweeted out, and I got a screenshot of this. He tweeted out this random guy saying, I wouldn't fight him. He's a big grown-ass man. Because he went on my Twitch and saw my archived videos and saw that I wasn't some kid.
Right.
I wasn't some, chubby neckbeard guy who just talks shit. I was legit willing to confront him. Another thing, he found out I was going to Evo in Las Vegas. I said I put the word out. I was like, I want to meet Lupe.
It's a gaming convention?
Yeah,
Right.
it's the biggest competition for Mortal Kombat, Smash Bros, Street Fighter.
Oh, okay. They
Huge,
put those
man.
all under one roof?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thousands of people are watching, man.
Interesting.
And he was going to be there. He didn't show up.
Wow.
I was like, there's no point in me going. Right?
He was supposed to be there, like he was booked to do something there, or you just heard he was going to go there? Because if he pussied out on going to a convention because of someone, that was kind of embarrassing.
I don't know what it was, but it was just coincidental. And people were tweeting me. I didn't know that he wasn't going to go. I decided to not just go because I was going to go to Comic-Con afterwards, and I just couldn't be traveling too much.
Right.
And people were tweeting me, Lupe didn't go to Evo, right? I'm like, really? I would have wasted my money then.
Yeah.
Because that would have been the only reason why I would have went. And
but what would you have done if you saw him? Would you have said, hey, let's sit down and play Street Fighter? You wouldn't have like walked up and punched him in the face,
no,
right?
what I was going to do is I had an actual plan. I was going to walk up to him pretending to be a fan and pretend to take a selfie with him and have my tweets and be like, hey, you remember this?
Yeah.
While live streaming it. I had a whole plan for it because he's not going to hit me.
Yeah.
For anybody.
I don't know.
Yeah. I was going to walk up to him and be like, hey, you remember this? And if he tries to get loud, he has guards with him. They'll
He's
just pull him
got it,
back. Yeah. And I would just laugh at him.
Did you see the iDubbbz and Tana Mojo thing?
Yeah.
Did you think it was funny that he was saying the N-word and trying to get her to say it?
That was fucking hilarious. You
really thought so?
Yeah, that was so fucking funny.
I mean, I thought she really overreacted, but I also was just like, this is like, why does this white dude like think he can drop the hard R in public and nobody's gonna care?
She's a piece of shit.
You really hate her? Okay.
It's not that I hate her. It's just once you get to this level, right? You get to a certain level of YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, no matter where, you start to spot the fraudulent. And it's really easy. She is the typical YouTuber who's a fraud in terms of personality, because she says that the N-word, she thought it meant homie.
Well, so she said that talking about the videos of her when she was like 13 saying it. But to me, the videos of her when she was 13 saying it, it's so obvious that she knew it was offensive. She was saying it in like not a racist way, but in like she thought it was funny.
She was saying it in a derogatory
right.
She
wasn't saying it like, oh, like you're my friend. You cannot. No fucking person in America can grow up and think the N-word is just like a way of saying hi.
Yeah, like she wasn't saying, oh, you're a fucking homie. No, she was being racist.
It feels funny to even say that because it's such a ridiculous concept that somebody could just grow up thinking like, oh, N-word.
Well, I go on Xbox Live, right? Back in the day, on Call of Duty. Yeah. The minute they hear my voice, they're calling me the N-word. Yeah. I'm like, why are you calling me the N-word? They're like, shut up, you black N-word. I'm not black. It's just how my voice sounds.
I had a roommate for about 6 months who was a gamer, and I used to just hear it from the other room, and it sounded like a fucking Klan rally in the other room.
Yeah, like this one guy, no lie, I sneezed, and the guy said, you sneeze like an N-word. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Because of Call of Duty? And it just reminds me of that's what she does. It's as if she thinks it's cool. Maybe at that age, she thought it was a cool thing to say.
Right.
It makes you edgy.
I think in a weird way, it's almost kind of natural because when you're a 13 or a 14-year-old, that's where like 4chan culture comes from, and like troll culture is just motherfuckers who want to make jokes and want to push the limits, and obviously they don't want to deal with the repercussions. They just want to see how far they can push certain things. And with her being like a 13-year-old, it's just this stupid edgy thing. I mean. She does need to apologize for it once she becomes famous. I support that. But what about iDubbbz saying he's a white guy and he says the N-word with the hard R as a joke? Does that strike you as a bad thing or?
Context is everything.
True.
Context is everything, and people are ignoring it. They're just saying they see that he's white,
right?
And then they look at nothing else.
I don't feel like he got a lot of heat for it. I feel like she got a lot of heat. I don't think anybody ever really came for him too bad, even though he was the one dropping it real hard.
He shouldn't.
Do you see? This is a weird thing to me. Is that when I lived in New York, because I'm from the Boston area, is that I never knew any white kids who said the N-word growing up, like in a friendly way.
Either.
I moved to New York, boom. I knew tons of white kids who said it out there, and I mean. And then even out here, sometimes I hear black people say nobody should be allowed to say it besides black people, including like Mexicans and Asians and shit like that. What do you think about that?
It's such a normal thing. No one had a problem with me saying, "Oh, yo, what's good, my nigga?"
In New York, a fucking
nobody
Hispanic person saying it? No, you can't get mad about that. No.
You see it here, and they see that I'm light skinned, they assume automatically I'm white.
Right.
And then the minute they hear me speaking, I'm like, dude, I'm from fucking Harlem.
You do not strike me as a white person by any means.
You know what? It's Twitter. It's Twitter that just. These young kids are growing up and they feel so entitled to think they can tell you what you can and can't say.
And unless you look like you're from fucking Zimbabwe, they're going to tell you
exactly.
Like,
unless you look like you're Akon and you're so black you're purple, you're not allowed to say anything.
I've seen this so many times where it's like a Puerto Rican kid that I know or a Mexican kid who says the N-word, and then some people are just calling him out. You're fucking racist. Blah, blah, blah.
I had to educate this girl on Twitter the other day and let her know just because we have different skin color doesn't mean we're not cut from the same cloth. I'm Dominican. You go back to Dominican Republic, you see Haitians and Dominicans beefing to the point where they're decapitating each other just because of skin color over there. Haitians, because they're darker than Dominicans, are getting decapitated because they're being associated with black people. And the same thing with Dominicans. If you're dark skinned, they think you're Haitian, they're going to put one in you. And I'm telling you, like, we go through it too.
Well, just like white and black is just like a huge oversimplification of the fact that, race obviously exists on a spectrum. Skin color literally exists on a spectrum. And it's like we've invented this strange thing where certain words are allowed to be said by certain races and certain ones aren't. But like when people start over policing it, it can just be like a very strange thing. Like, and especially I feel like it's white people usually who are the ones who are making a big stink about non.
They get that offended.
Yeah.
And even it has nothing to do with them.
That offends me because that sort of like suggests that like black people need white people to stand up for them.
Yeah.
Which is stupid. Like black people should get offended by what black people get offended by, and they should come up with their own rules of what they consider offensive, and they definitely don't need white people to come up with the rules for them.
Exactly. And it's only on social media you see this.
Oh my God.
Go on social media, you see people
detached
policing.
from reality, yeah.
It's annoying because if you go, I can go on Twitter, right? There's always going to be that one person that thinks that they can tell me how I should run my social media. And at this point, I've reached a point where I do what I want. I would have not made it had I not done what I want. If you don't like it, either keep scrolling or leave me the fuck alone.
Right.
Everyone has an opinion. Why are you overvaluing your opinion over the thousands of people I interact with?
Right.
So at this point, I had told her, because she said to me, well, I have every right to be upset because I'm offended. I was like, whose problem is that?
Yeah.
Why should I stop going about my day because you're offended?
Right.
And it's this era, this new generation where they just want to be coddled the whole fucking time.
Well, it's like people actually think that being offended is a virtue. Like if you're offended, then that lends you some sort of clout because you've been wronged in some way. Whereas, where I think you or I are coming from, it's like, well, if you've got the balls to be able to hear something or take an insult and just, hey, I don't give a fuck, okay, whatever, or insult them back.
Yeah.
Like in Harlem growing up, what do you fucking do when you're fucking 10 years old standing on the street corner? You make fun of each other.
We make fun of each
other.
other.
So you roast those motherfuckers.
I had to learn how to roast because I was short and the fat kid.
Oh, okay. You're short.
Yeah. I was short. I graduated high school 5'6", 5'7". And then I came back over the summer to go pick up my diploma because they fucked up my last name. I was 6'4". And they were like, parent-teacher conference is in a couple of months. Why are you here right now? Who are you picking up? I'm like, I'm here to pick up my diploma. How am I supposed to get into college and I can't provide the right diploma? And growing up like that, I had to learn how to have the comebacks. People go on my tour and they're like, "You're so sharp, you're so quick, you always got something to say." I had to learn how to be that way.
You learn that from hanging out with older dudes or older people in general. You learn that from just having to defend yourself. Like I remember when I first started hanging out with like BMX kids that I was probably like 13 and that they were all like 16, and they would roast me to fucking death about like wearing the wrong shirt, my pants didn't fit right, whatever. And you go through a period where you know it hurts your feelings or whatever, but then at a certain point, like, this is how you fucking learn how to act and how you learn how to behave. At some point, if somebody doesn't tell you that your pants are fitting fucked up, then you're never gonna know.
I remember the first time I roasted someone back, I got punched right in the fucking face.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you remember the jokes?
He said something about me, and I stood up. I was like, "That's why you're gonna end up working at McDonald's." I said to him, "Okay, he was flunking." I think I was like in the 5th grade. I said that to him, and he got up and he just rocked my shit.
Wow.
Yeah. And then him and his brothers caught me after school and just jumped me.
Right.
It was like 8 of them. They just beat the shit out of me. That was the worst I've ever been beaten up.
Really?
Yeah. They were pissed off.
So he got the one punch in on you, and then he also jumped you afterwards?
Yeah, because
Harlem.
when he punched me, the teacher came in and security came. They broke it up.
Right.
And they said my mom came, but she didn't take me back because I wasn't really in trouble. I was the one who got punched, and they were like, "Oh, he can stay," but we were just letting you know what happened. She got worried. She's a Hispanic mom. She's gonna freak out no matter what. And he came back. I guess his mom let him go back outside or something because he left. Came back, and all I remember was getting tripped. The guy swept me on my foot, and I fell forward, and I'm getting stomped down and getting punched, stomped, punched, and people are just watching.
Right.
No one's trying to help. And from there on, I realized that what I said to him got him so mad that I won that verbal. All I had to do was just learn how to fight.
Right.
And if I know how to fight, and I know how to come back with my words,
Right.
I'm good.
See, this is something I was thinking about the other day. So I'm a grown man. I don't fight people. If I had to, I would. But I probably haven't been in a fight in like 3-4 years. It's been a long ass fucking time. And I also, as an adult, I have the option, or I could, if I wanted to, carry a weapon of some sort. But when you're a kid, number one, you don't have the option of completely avoiding violence because young boys are going to fight each other, period, whether you like it or not. And number two, you can't really carry a weapon. So it's like, I think if I had a boy, or really probably a girl too, that I would consider it almost like mandatory to put them into martial arts at an early age, because you have to have some level of confidence in being able to defend yourself, especially at that age. Once you're 35, people don't just beat the shit out of each other. But when you're fucking 10, you're going to have to fight some fucking kid if you grew up like the way apparently we did, you know?
That's why I took martial arts. I had to lie to my mom about it.
Oh, you had to lie to her?
Yeah. I had one of my friend's dad sign a waiver for me.
Wow.
Because, I was a kid. I couldn't just come in. And I ended up, as I got older, working my first job at 13. And I told my mom every day after school I was going to a chess club. I told her I was doing math in chess club so she doesn't get worried. But I was actually sparring and fighting.
She thought martial arts would make you more violent?
She's a Pentecostal Christian woman. So anything that goes against the Bible, she was religious. I couldn't even collect Pokemon cards growing up.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
I came home one day and I saw all my Yu-Gi-Oh cards shredded in the trash. And
hey, what's up with that meme?
What, the
Everybody's responding to me with Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and I haven't even really paid that much attention to what they say on them, but I noticed that it's a thing.
Yeah.
What, you start that or something?
Yeah, it's my fans aren't. Yeah.
Is it directly from your fans?
Yeah.
Oh,
because the minute that we have a tweet exchange, you're gonna get stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're just gonna jump in and they're just gonna reply with something so random that it's just gonna. If you think about it too much, it's gonna fuck you up.
So, what were your memes that really started to get you a big fan base? You think?
The 2012 presidential election, and it's like sporadic.
Yeah.
Different events.
You'll just have crazy spikes from different stuff.
You have to be quick. You have to be really quick.
In the moment, in terms of big political moments or big like mainstream
Yeah.
news, the Super Bowl, stuff like that is when there's a huge opportunity, huh?
Well, as I grew bigger on social media, it became to a point where people are submitting things for me.
Right.
It's almost as if the page runs itself, and I've made it into a community.
Right.
I told, they're my squad.
Yeah.
And I tell them, I'm not going to tell you what to say or post. Just don't be a dickhead in my comments towards each other or towards me. We all cool over here.
Right.
But if I find something funny, if you show me something funny, I'm going to post it. But when I first started out, I was staying up late photoshopping shit. When I first started, it was the Obama versus, Mitt Romney.
Right.
In 2012. And I was just making a whole bunch of shit for months and months, and they were going viral, but no one knew it was coming from me.
Oh, so you'd make it and then it would just end up somewhere else?
It would just end up somewhere else.
And would you ever post on like Reddit or anything like that, or were you straight Twitter?
It was straight Facebook at first.
Oh,
and then
okay.
I went to Twitter because I kept getting
I got to follow you on Facebook. That sounds pretty interesting.
Facebook, man, it's a good and a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people who are mostly Twitter-based hate Facebook.
Yeah, that's like there is a crossover, but it's like if somebody follows you on Facebook, they probably don't follow you on Twitter or vice versa, right?
But Facebook is full of hate groups. That's one thing about
literal
Facebook.
hate groups?
Literal hate groups. I had a friend that worked at Facebook, and his job was to look through people's messages who are known pedophiles, registered pedophiles.
They just look through your messages like that? Wow.
Through your fucking messages.
Interesting.
And he would see all the pedophile groups that he was part of. Pedophile groups where they were exchanging child porn.
Wow.
And he had to sit there hours and hours and read everything.
Right.
And I had
that's
another
gonna
friend.
scar you right there.
Yeah, he actually had to leave. He
Yeah.
didn't take it anymore.
I read an article about, because like the way that it's set up is that like, you know, if you're doing the screening on Instagram, it'll be your computer screen is just a row of all the images, and it's child porn and it's poop porn and it's all car accidents, the worst things ever. And like your job is just to select the things that, you know, on your like first impression are offensive enough that they should be removed. And that's probably why a lot of the stuff that like is sort of gray area that gets a bunch of gets reported by people. That's why that stuff gets removed, because it's not like they're paying that close of attention.
They're
I think, yeah.
No, they're not. There's some things like trigger words. They'll trigger bots.
Same thing with YouTube.
And the bots will automatically flag you, take preemptive action. That's what happened to me a year ago. My page got unpublished because I was defending Muslim people. And they thought I was talking negatively about it. But my page got unpublished for a week because I said the word Muslim and Islam. And automatically it got flagged for hate. They didn't read everything surrounding those two.
And that's the thing too, is that I've known of people who said, you know, who were critical of Islam, like, but, you know, critical of the religion. They weren't saying like, oh, the Muslims need to die. They were just saying, you know, like, oh, like this is something that needs, you know, like relatively intelligent commentary. And then they end up getting their posts deleted and stuff just because Facebook, for whatever reason, that's their tag that they're always looking for. Which is interesting, because I remember back in the day that Facebook they were so concerned with free speech that they wouldn't delete Holocaust denial groups off of Facebook.
I've seen gore on Facebook.
Gore pages?
Yeah.
Decapitations. It used to be that they had a real problem with that, where every time you looked at Facebook, there would be like a horse getting sucked off or something.
You know what? There was a video that went viral. I got a pedophile arrested at one point.
Wow.
Yeah, because the dude posted a video of him literally changing the diaper of a girl, and he's rubbing her with his dick, and it was going viral.
Viral where?
Yeah, on Facebook. It was going viral.
What, people saying like, oh, this is disgusting?
Just sharing it, but they're sharing it instead of actually reporting it. They're just sharing it, saying, oh my God, this is disgusting, giving it more, you know, attention to it instead of actually reporting it.
So what'd you do?
So what I did was, because I know people who work in the law department of Facebook, I sent it to them directly. And they went, and he got arrested. He got arrested literally the same fucking day they found out where he lived.
Wow.
Yeah, this was 3 years ago.
That's insane.
Yeah, and I was just fed up because that was going viral, and it stood up longer than it should have.
Right.
But I've had posts taken down in minutes. Things that weren't even offended.
It's weird.
Offensive.
Yeah. It's weird on YouTube too, because like I had my girl rub my my boner through my pants, and that got removed within like 8 hours. But then like I'm watching rap videos all the time that have like literally guns, you know, Playboy Cardi's sitting there getting fucking head in the front seat of the car, fucking everything, like crazy stuff. And what it's all about is if people choose to report it or not, which is really the fucked up thing. My girl, she couldn't even have her fucking Instagram up for like months and months because she was getting trolls like reporting it. Finally, she gets verified. Boom, it doesn't happen anymore. But it was like, I feel strongly as a feminist that that I don't think that the social networks do enough to protect like women or people who could be targeted. I don't think they do enough to protect those people, because a lot of times like girls, like hot girls, like a lot of the porn star girls I know, like Riley Reid, every couple months, all my photos of me and her together will reappear in my tagged photos because she'll get her account deleted for a couple weeks and then it comes back.
I was talking to Mia Khalifa about that not too long ago.
Oh, it happens to her too? And they won't verify porn stars, which is also fucked up because sex workers are people. Scumbags.
Now they are. Now they are.
Yeah.
Now. Years later, now they are.
But they won't verify them. They treat them like fucking second-class citizens on Instagram and shit.
Yeah, because at that point, you know, you could look at porn stars, they're open about what they do. They're straight up open. But then, I don't know if you're familiar with cosplay.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, you could look at like some cosplay chicks. They do something called Patreon, right?
Okay, yeah.
Patreon is a service where people pay to subscribe to you, and every month you get a certain gift
Right.
from the person, and there's like tier.
I didn't know that cosplay girls did that, but that's interesting.
Yeah,
Makes
and
sense.
there's chicks. There was one that I knew, and what she does is if you pay like $100 a month, she'll send you softcore porn of her. And I'm just like, why not just become a porn star?
Yeah.
Like, there's no different than the prostitute in the corner willing to give you a hand job for $20. You're still helping someone bust a nut. It's no different. The only thing is they're open about it and you're not.
Well, you jerk somebody off with your hand for a half hour and make them come, and you get $100, or you fucking go take that same hand and you flip burgers for a half hour and you get whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, it just seems kind of ridiculous that our government is like imposing on what people should be able to do in exchange for money. It just seems like such a relic of a different age, you know, where that could ever be considered acceptable.
Well, you also have the people who put you down for what you do.
Right.
They think they're better than you, but they do something in a similar aspect, and they think they're above you for it. You know, because I've seen cosplay chicks put down porn stars.
Yeah.
Because they do porn.
It's weird micro elitism within the field.
I've had conversations with a lot of famous porn stars, like Kendra Lust, Mia Khalifa, Bella Danger, all these chicks. I've had conversations with them, and they're so down to earth. They're so fucking cool. They don't have an ego attached to them. But then you got the random chick on the bus that you met who has 10,000 Instagram followers, and she thinks she's a shit.
And she thinks that porn stars are pieces of trash because they choose to, you know, do whatever with their time, with their body. I honestly think that every time I've had a porn star on the show is fun as fuck because they're so open. What are they not going to talk about? You know,
it's not even about like shame. It's just they're comfortable with what they do.
Yeah.
They're open about it.
There's no denying it.
Exactly.
Know? I like people who are all out open on the table. You know, it's like for me with like the YouTube thing. People are always like, I can't believe that you do all this on camera. Blah blah blah. It's like I can't really imagine what it would be like to pretend that I didn't smoke weed and party and do crazy shit from time to time. You know, I just don't. Yeah. I don't know what it would be like to have to live a lie.
It's, you know what? I've reached a crossroads at one point doing this where it's like I stopped being myself, make a lot of money.
You felt like that for a while?
For like a year now.
With the memes and shit?
Well, I got a lot of brand opportunities.
Right.
And I got a lot of brand opportunities from the gaming industry at this point.
Okay.
Like,
Gaming's where it's at, huh?
Yeah.
With the promotional, that's what Scarce said too. He said there's more money making opportunities when he used to use gameplay footage instead of just him sitting there talking.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand, but it's interesting.
Well, because what happens is that content creates a demographic.
Right.
So if you decide to create a demographic with just gaming commentary, they go there for the gaming,
right.
And then they will become exposed.
Makes sense,
to
yeah.
the products.
It's really like how more specific your content is. Like the same reason why weed companies want to give me money is because they know that an extremely high percentage of my fans smoke weed. So there you go.
I mean, and then I reached a point where it's either I keep being myself, I hope it pays off, or sell out. Because that's essentially, I'm compromising my integrity. And I realized I can't do that. Imagine if I didn't swear. Like there was one point I declined a partnership with Sony.
Because they wanted you to stop swearing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny because I know an athlete who got on Sony and immediately started censoring his tweets. And then I think he got off Sony and then he stopped censoring his tweets. And I was just like...
They wanted me to fly out to San Diego to stream some game. And they said, oh, yeah, you could bring your fans, but we're going to have someone moderate the chat for you. And I was like, no, I have my own moderators. And then they said, okay, well, that's fine. We'll have our moderators to answer questions that your mods can't answer. I'm like, okay, what else do I need to know? Oh, the nature of your content. You cannot swear. They flat out told me I can't swear. They were going to pay me a lot of fucking money, too. And
in the content? What, in like a video or in what kind of content?
On a live stream.
Oh, okay.
They said you cannot swear. You cannot say you eat ass. You cannot talk about your sexual experiences.
Right.
They watched the stream that I had where I talk about how I lost my virginity, and they saw that and went based off of that.
Right.
And that painted a picture for them of my character. And I told them, well, I come with my fans.
Yeah.
You know, it's a package deal. You just don't, you see a 6-figure follower count and think that's what you get. No, I'm the one who's in charge.
Okay.
I'm the boss.
Wait, but so what is the tie that binds with your fans? Like, how would you describe what they're into?
What they're into?
Because they like memes.
Memes. I think it's just being a free spirit.
Right.
Really. Like, I can post gaming content, they'll understand. I can post something about anime, they'll understand. But they're also really intelligent to the actual culture.
Right.
When it comes to hip hop, I've posted old school hip hop. They know about it. It's not like they're so detached from actual culture. They know about it. So it's actually so diverse, and I built it that way because I tried not to stay linear with my content. I'm always talking about what's trending, trying to keep them up to date with what's going on, and they know what's relevant and what isn't.
See, that's what's interesting for me. I was thinking, just as you were saying that, is that that's kind of the problem for me in a way, is that like my joke today, if she's 13, I'm 13, that I had to delete because motherfuckers lost her. I didn't have to delete it. It's just that I knew exactly. I figured, probably the screenshot of it will get passed around regardless.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And especially the fact that there were 10 responses of me talking to other people, like talking about the context and everything like that. I know it'll never go away, and I don't give a fuck. But at the end of the day, like, I don't know. It's like once your audience gets bigger, it's like you're playing by different rules. Like with PewDiePie, like those jokes that he made that they tried to fucking crucify him for. I mean, me or you, I think we could get away with those jokes pretty easy, and people would get it. Like, oh, Adam's not actually anti-Semitic; he's just making a little joke.
Exactly.
But PewDiePie, he's so big that there's no. When CNN says it, I mean, what are you going to do? People believe it.
But also think about it is who you decide to work with too.
Oh yeah.
He was essentially a product of Disney. They owned him at one point because of the network he was signed with. And Disney didn't like that. But at the same time, it goes really deep into who's watching you. The media is watching him. The media right now aren't watching us like that.
Right. But, actually, I think that's the problem, too, is that the media isn't really watching PewDiePie because they don't really know what the fuck he's doing. They might have, somebody might have sent him some screenshots, said, hey, this is this, and this. But it's like YouTubers make no sense to someone who works at the New York Times, generally speaking.
It doesn't. And you know what? The media, newspaper, CNN, they're scared of us. They're scared of influencers. They're scared of content creators.
I think there's some truth to that.
We have a bigger voice than they do.
And they feel under attack by our fucking president and by a lot of other forces.
Well, think about it like this. I'll put it into perspective. What was the most views you got in a video in a day?
In a day, I don't know, but I mean, maybe like 1 million.
1 million. That's more than what CNN gets.
Yeah.
They probably got like 500,000 in a day.
I got 100,000 on like a vlog, and that's like that's like a popular like TV show. Like, that's pretty crazy.
Imagine if each view was one individual person standing in a fucking room. That is something they wish they can have.
Okay, but so this is the thing, is that like last night I went to that Cameron show, and it's like a bunch of my friends are playing Little Peep, Little House Phone, stuff like that. So it's like very, very specific to my fans. So I go there and I just feel like fucking everybody fucking knows me. It's a really cool feeling to get to meet so many people. But do you have that experience? Do you feel like your fans like 100% know you in like real life too, or do they?
I kept my personal life detached.
That's what I feel like. Yeah.
They some of them know my real name because they met me.
Right.
And I'll go to conventions. There was like booths that I'll run, and I'll work with brands, and I get into conventions for free. They'll send me badges.
Because if you had a shirt that said your Twitter handle, that would probably be like everybody would talk to you.
They would know. And the reason why I started getting recognized is because I started streaming.
Yeah.
And
how many viewers do you get when you stream?
A couple hundred.
And do you like it? Is it a fun experience? I've been thinking about getting into it.
It's fun. When I stream on Twitch, I'll get a couple hundred. If I go on Facebook, I get a couple thousand. So it's fun.
But one you make money and one you don't, right?
Pretty
Is
much.
that the gist of the issue there?
Yeah, the only time I make money is through YouTube and Twitch.
YouTube streaming, you make money off the ads too, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's probably what I would end up doing, I would think.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very transparent with how I make money to my fans through social media. I always get the people who'll be like, hey, how do you make money? And then I'll be like, if you don't know how, I'm not going to explain it to you.
Okay.
But obviously, if I have a brand deal with, like right now, I just signed a brand deal with Origin PC. There's a huge gaming PC company. I'm obviously going to make money with them.
Right.
It's why would I sign with them?
But do you ever feel the need to disclose that, or do you just figure that your fans should know?
I just become transparent so people can never say I lied.
Right. That's kind of how I feel too, yeah.
Yeah, because as long as I'm open with, I'm open even if they're not asking. They can be like, oh, nobody cares. Well, I'm putting the info out there, so you can never say I never put the info out there.
Right.
Because there will always be people, I've had people write the most bogus articles about me.
Really?
Yeah.
On what? Like Medium or on like smaller websites?
I've been on many websites.
Really?
It even happened at one point. There was a branch of CNN Canada that wrote an article about me over a tweet for Justin Bieber. that I said.
What'd you say?
Because there was a rumor at the time that Justin Bieber wanted to take Paul Walker's place in the Fast and Furious movie. It was just a rumor. And I made a tweet that said, if Justin Bieber wants to take Paul Walker's place, he should have been in the car instead. Yeah.
Wow.
And it went viral.
I bet it did.
Yeah. It went.
Wow, that's fucked up.
It blew up. And I was just being an asshole.
Yeah.
I mean, I am an asshole.
No,
but
that's pretty. That is fun. That's an example of something that's funny as fuck and fucked up.
Yeah, and that's the nature of my content.
Right.
You know, and that went viral. But from that tweet, 140 characters, they decided to paint this picture about me. It ended up on Fox. It ended up on CNN.
What, that you hate Paul Walker?
That I'm an anti-Justin Bieber. I don't respect the dead.
Right.
You know, but then it ended up on Complex Magazine at one point, and they painted this positive picture about me.
Really?
Saying, oh, he's just a funny guy who posted this, and, you know, these are some of his tweets. And from there, that's when I started blowing up.
Yeah.
Because I've reached the point where I'm no longer on just Reddit.
Right.
Now I'm actually reaching mainstream media at that point.
And that's the problem with PewDiePie, too, is that the people who first wrote those articles about him were fucking completely full of fucking shit. They didn't understand him at all. And then people had to write follow-up articles defending him. And those were like people who basically kind of understood, but they were basically forced to do that because then you have somebody like Keemstar who's coming out saying, hey, this is fucked up. You guys painted him in a way that was completely inaccurate.
Yeah.
And, you know, they called him like a hero to neo-Nazis.
Which is ridiculous.
Let's poll every neo-Nazi on Earth and ask them what they think of PewDiePie, and I guarantee almost every single one of them is going to say who, and maybe there's like 2 dudes out there who like him.
It's because there's 2 things that scare them. It's success and influence. Mm-hmm. The minute PewDiePie's income got disclosed, he became a target.
Once they hear that 50 million, it's just...
Yep. And that's why I don't tell my fans how much I make in real life. They know because how I live. I live in a really nice house. I live in a really nice area. You know, I'm always traveling.
And is it all brand deals?
No.
Okay.
No.
Also heroin.
I actually graduated college.
Okay.
You know, I have my degree. I've worked a lot in my life. You know, yeah, I'm successful. I choose to do this as a hobby instead of, you know, an actual career because I have that luxury.
Right.
Many people don't have that luxury. And I remember at one point I said a lot of people don't like that what they struggle to do as a career, I do as a hobby and I excel.
Right.
And I do feel bad, but I can't help the world. I'm not Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not the second coming of Jesus. I do what makes me happy and what I have fun with.
That's why I like to say when people say like, well, how are you successful, blah, blah, I just say, when you're hot, you're hot.
Yeah.
It's super offensive, but it's true.
Yeah, it's just how it is. I wouldn't have the fan base.
If you're funny, you're funny, you know? Yeah.
Exactly. I wouldn't have the fan base that I do now.
Right.
If I wasn't doing something right.
Mm-hmm. And that's what's funny too, though, is that people will come up with excuses. They'll be like, "Oh, you're only doing well because you know you posted this one time, or because you're friends with this person, because you did this, and this." Yeah. It's like, well, some of those things are intentional. Like, yeah, maybe I did a video with somebody because they were popping. Duh. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'm friends with somebody not because they're popping, just because I became friends with them. That fucking makes sense too. And it's like, either way, those are all things I chose to do. Yeah. They're all things I chose to do in my life. So how the fuck are you going to judge me for that?
Exactly.
You know?
And you know what? I run all of my social media from this iPhone.
Yeah.
I don't sit behind a computer.
Almost everything on my whole YouTube channel is from my iPhone.
Exactly. Like, I'm just having fun. You know, go outside. I'm traveling. You know, I could afford it. Just now, before I came here, I was with my girl my girls, and chilling and running my social media at the same time, interacting with my fans, reading emails, you know, reading the brand deals, reading everything that I need to do, all from my phone.
What's it take to get 2 girls at once? Because I've done it plenty of times in my life, but you seem like you're some sort of specialist with this.
Have a big dick.
Is it like freakishly big?
It's certified by Pornhub.
As what?
As a big dick.
What do you have? What size do you have to be considered big on Pornhub?
Well, I'm definitely over 9 inches.
I think I'm probably below 9. So.
And so they like the minute it happens, you tell a girl you have a big dick, right?
I think I'm a strong 8. Shout out to Anthony Fantano. Trans.
A lot of girls don't even know what 8 inches are anymore. They get with a guy who's like actually like 6 inches, and they believe that's a big dick until they actually have a big dick.
Right. Well, it's all about the width too.
Yeah, definitely. And
how's your width?
It's up there.
I wish there were other people in here so this would feel less good.
No homo.
Well, there are. There's many.
No homo. I mean,
dead ass B.
Dead ass.
No homo was also invented by Harlem. Shout out to Harlem. There you go.
Man. We are probably one of the most influential groups of people.
Oh yeah,
Harlem.
And that's really okay. Well, how do you feel about Atlanta like becoming the cultural epicenter instead of New York over the years, and New York becoming slowly? It sometimes feels like people want to act like New York's like not relevant in hip hop anymore. How do you see that?
It was a matter of time.
It was a matter of time. Why?
It was a matter of time. Eventually every prince becomes a king.
Yeah.
And the torch gets passed.
Right.
But just don't forget that New York was on top for most of the time.
Mm-hmm. And created the genre.
Yeah. We still influence things. A lot of the times, how people dress, New York created it.
Yeah.
You know? I see people wearing Timbs out here, you know? And who popularized it? Rappers like DMX.
Well, now everything is so sarcastic and stuff that you could see a guy who's. I remember I was at a BMX contest and there's like, a lot of people there wearing like monster hats because they get paid to wear monster hats. And then I left there and I went to a party here and I saw two different kids who were both wearing monster hats and they were doing it to be ironic.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is so weird that both parts of my life exist. It's the same hat, but one person's trying to be funny and one person's just sincerely getting paid for it.
Like you see both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
And then sometimes people just don't see either.
You could realistically probably go to a club in Hollywood and see somebody wearing an Ed Hardy hat and being completely serious, and then you could go to a warehouse party in LA and like Lil Tracy is wearing a Ed Hardy hat and he's doing it because it's ironic because Ed Hardy is because of the types of people who wear that Ed Hardy hat sincerely.
Yeah.
It's a very strange world we live in.
And now you see people wearing Timbs. Ironically,
I would love to show up dressed up like, oh man, remember those fucking wife beaters that 50 Cent used to wear with the colored stripes on the thing?
You still see it in New York.
I want to roid out and get those.
You still see it in New York?
Oh, you still see those?
Yeah, the white wife beaters, baggy jeans.
This is the characterization I think that some people have of New York, and I think that it quite often is kind of true, is that New York is a little behind the times. Maybe not like the cultural epicenter parts, but in the hood, that a lot of times those dudes, sometimes parts of New York feel like maybe they're not keeping up with what everybody else is on. I'm trying really not to be offensive here.
I think it's more like if it's not broken, why fix it kind of thing. And they're stuck in their own old ways. And it just works.
But motherfuckers sell crack in like, drop crotch sweatpants with leather patches on the knees now. Sometimes.
At the same time, remember back in the day when people used to wear Fila's and all that, you could still see people rocking those.
Right.
It's just sometimes we don't even look at the style anymore.
Right.
It's more as if I fucks with you or if I don't. That's all that matters.
What's funny too is because I used to live in Bushwick and go to this gym in Ridgewood, which Ridgewood is a hip, cool area now. It was absolutely not at the time, and actually Bushwick wasn't either because this was like 2006. And I lived out there, and I remember just like looking around one time in the gym and just thinking like, dude, we're like 8 miles away from Manhattan right now, and look at all these motherfuckers. Like, it didn't seem there was no sign that anyone was aware of the fact that like the center of society was a few miles away. It was like, because in Brooklyn or Queens or whatever, these people are very like salt of the earth people that do not give a fuck about the fact that they live in a big important place. You know,
and on top of that, people from Brooklyn, they have everything that they need. They don't need to leave Brooklyn,
and they don't leave. I know so many motherfuckers in Brooklyn who had never been to Queens and shit.
Yeah, I have friends who lived in Queens or Brooklyn. I'm like, yo, come through, let's chill. They'll be like, why? Just come over here. I'm just like, all right, I guess I'll go over there.
It's weird because in BMX, it's very much like you end up going and traveling all over the place. You ride everywhere, blah, blah, blah. There's a kid named Desmond, a.k.a. Black Man, who's a friend of mine. He's like a crazy pro BMX rider at a time. And he like, I was talking to him one day and he's like, man, I never would have been to California. I never would have been to North Carolina if it wasn't for this BMX shit. I never would have been to Manhattan. And I'm just really thinking, like, he might not have gone to Manhattan in his whole goddamn life growing up in East New York or wherever if it wasn't for his bike. And that's a bizarre thing that kind of only occurs in New York, I think.
I think, for me, we know there's a life outside of the state, obviously, but we don't know that there's actually a life out there, And with me, I felt so stuck in New York that had I not went to Virginia Beach, have a good time, I would have not realized that there is like life after death, so to speak. And it woke me up, and I realized that there's better shit out there. The grass is sometimes greener.
Right.
once I realized that, I was out.
Well, it's such an incestuous little nest where everything just feels like it's just going on all around you all the time. And like, I mean, LA is a little bit of the same. You know, I live in like a big apartment complex where, you know, you get a little bit of that vibe of like there's people all around and, you know, stuff like that. But I mean, nothing can compare to how fucking just smushed in there you are in New York. And if you were to go to live in LA or not even LA, go live down south for a week. Go live in like Austin for a week and then go back to New York and you'd have just such a different perspective on it for the average person, you know?
That's what happened to me. You know, I saw the people were much nicer. You know, nobody was trying to fight all the time. That was another thing. I grown out of that.
Right.
You know,
and as a young person in New York, it's such a like a culture of like bravado and showing off, and you have to be cooler than the next guy and stuff.
That's the thing too. You always have to compete when there's no competition.
It's the most competitive place on earth because there's the most competitors, and it's fucked. It's
like
hard.
I was hitting the gym every single day because I felt I had to be physically peaked every single time. Had the nicest clothes. Now I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know, I'm 28 now. I don't care because that's not what gets me with people.
Right.
You know? And at that time, you got people who try to roast you just because you're not up to date in certain things.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I'm 28. I'm not wearing the freshest Jordans, but I make more money than you.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have to flaunt that. But growing up at that time, you had to. And it was a lifestyle that I didn't want to have to continuously keep up with.
Right.
Because, one, it kind of trapped me into this circle of negativity constantly. Every single day, you go on the train station, you see kids dressed in the freshest clothes, and you feel incompetent because you're not it. So then you go to the store, you go buy those clothes, and then you go on the train again, and it's like an endless cycle over and over again.
Broke dudes get money so that they can look rich to other broke dudes.
Yeah, exactly.
And every other rich guy knows exactly what they're doing.
Exactly. Like some of my most wealthiest friends, I have friends on social media who are millionaires. And they dress and shop at like Gap and Old Navy. You know, they don't have to go to the most expensive stores and constantly drop $400 on a fucking pair of jeans and a shirt.
It's funny because like in hip hop, to whatever extent I'm involved in hip hop now, it's like that mentality of like, oh yeah, I make $1 million a year, but I don't spend any of it, and I drive a Civic. I don't think that exists in hip hop. I don't know anybody that abides by that, including like the managers, the whatever. It's like everybody's trying to flex in this game.
And you kind of have to at this point too,
right?
Because if you don't stand out, you will never be seen.
And I always said I was never going to be that kind of person, but now it just kind of makes sense to me. It's like, well, if I'm going to go from making, a couple $100,000 to making, over $1 million, maybe, then I got to do something to like represent that publicly, right? Like you can't keep driving the same car because you need to put out little symbols to let people know, like, hey, it's going good over here. This is not just a ruse.
Yeah, like I'm actually doing well. You know, look at my interior; it's looking fresh. You know?
Well, I think being a YouTuber is such a thing because of the fact that YouTubers just have nice cars. It's just a thing. That's just like part of the game at this point.
I told myself that once I hit 1 million, or if I get verified on Twitter, I'm just gonna go straight to Vegas and just live stream my whole experience there and just fucking party and have a good fucking time. But at the same time, I don't like putting that image out there either. I'm very careful. It's weird for me to say that I'm actually careful with my image because what I put out there will stick. So how I always tell people who are up and coming on social media, how you want your image to be projected a couple of years from now matters how you start. How you start dictates the direction that you're gonna go. So if I decide suddenly to go buy a fucking $500,000 Lambo,
then you gotta keep up with it.
Then I gotta keep up with that.
Very true.
And it's like the poor person trying to hang out with the rich people, And I don't want to have to keep up with people.
It's like Kenny Powers in the club with all those sportscaster dudes that he was doing the show with, and they're all successful, and they're like, "What do you got, Kenny? What do you got?" He's like, I got a wife who loves me. And they're all like laughing at him.
Yeah, like I'm not that type of person. I'm happy with having a nice bank account. I don't have to constantly put that image out there because what happens, people come just for that. They think that's all I'm about. And then I have to constantly do that to keep them. And I'm not about keeping people.
I'm a very big believer that like if I'm going to drive a $100,000 car, then I've probably got like a couple million in the bank.
Exactly.
I want to ball, but I'm gonna ball very within my means. So it's like if I have $1 million house, then it's like that I got fucking 8 figures in the bank, easy. You know, like that's how I feel it.
I always just make sure, just know my bills are paid and I'm eating good.
Right.
That's all that matters.
And then the Goyard and the Louis and the
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, they don't need to see anything else.
Yeah. So I do have. We've got probably like 5-10 minutes left here before we got to wrap this up. But I want to know, where do you see yourself going with this career of yours? Like, where do you see yourself 5-10 years from now? It's kind of a cliche question, but being an internet guy, it's sort of a strange career path to take.
It is, and you know what? I was thinking of doing it as a full-time thing within the next year.
You don't consider yourself full time now?
No.
Okay.
But I'm thinking of doing.
But you don't have a job per se, or you don't have like a job you go to.
I'm my own boss
right
now. So
you have another business you run on the side?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, and I have
heroin.
never. We could call it heroin.
Okay.
I tell people I'm a prostitute.
Oh.
So ironically, I just say I'm a prostitute because I'm very detached. My personal life is very detached from my fan page.
Right.
But when I do go full time, I'm going to be so transparent about it. I'm going to talk to them about it and say, this is where I came from. You know, I used to be homeless. I used to be broke, but this is how much I've worked, and this is what I used to do. You saw all the status updates, you saw the tweets and everything, but while you were looking at that, this is what I was doing. So 5 to 10 years from now, I want to start a network with people who are doing what I do right now, and people who are up and coming, and help build a network of influencers and entertainers so I can make it easier for them so they don't have to go through the shit that I went through. Because there's a lot of influencers who are way more famous and popular than I am, but they can't even get a brand deal. They don't know what it is to have a brand deal with someone. They don't know what it is to get free shit, you know? And I want to start a network and build kind of like a little dynasty. That's how I see it. A dynasty of people who do what I do, and we just basically take over.
When you say do what you do you mean Hispanic meme creation and curation?
I just be an entertainer and I just want to make people laugh.
But do you feel like some sort of responsibility to put on for like your type of people, whether it's like, you know, Hispanic people, like, because I feel like that in a way is sort of your lane humor wise, even though it's not specific to that at all.
And it is because I put a lot of Hispanic exclusive content out there. You know, I'll say jokes that only people like. I'll mention a song Suavemente, and
see here and there, Hispanics I feel like I don't get the joke.
Yeah, but Hispanics immediately know. You hear that song, your house is cleaned because it's such a core Hispanic thing that if I put out there, but I just want to let people know that, you know, if I can make it, you can too.
Yeah, I feel the same way. That's just like you just want to like let people know, like I'm dog shit. Like I was nothing, and I fucking managed to get the confidence and the courage to have an idea and try it out, and I made it work. And it's like I really just want you to know that there's nothing special about me.
Exactly. Like I'm just a dude that likes making people laugh. And what comes with that is all extra. Because I can go on the rest of my life still doing this and not get a brand deal. The brand deals help because it makes me bring better quality content. If I didn't have certain brand deals, I wouldn't be able to afford the PC setup that I have to stream high definition and best quality that I can bring, you know, because I was paying out of pocket just to not make a return. And a lot of people can't do that. They start off and they have to work at their job at a retail store or whatever, and they're making $9 an hour. They can't afford to put $3,000 in a computer setup just to stream for fun.
Just when it's time to hit a lick.
Yeah. That's just how it is. Some of them will go rob somebody just for that.
Right.
And I want to put out there that if I can do it, you can too. But I'm going to show you how to get to that point.
Right.
Because social media has a lot of fucking money. And it's better to be your own boss than constantly having to wake up hating your life because you have to work for a paycheck.
Ugh, can't even imagine.
Because I've been there.
Yeah.
I had to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to a job at 5:30 in the morning just to hate the next 8 hours, 9 hours of my life, to go home, eat, sleep, and do it all over again.
Ugh, scary.
It's insanity.
That's why, like, how could you not understand somebody selling drugs when you think about that being the other side?
Exactly. It's either you're a zombie
Yeah.
who makes money or you're a human
Yeah.
who makes money.
Yeah.
And I would rather go the route where I can go to sleep knowing that I'm not going to get arrested tomorrow.
See, that's the problem, is that people don't know how stressful it is living your life knowing that at any given moment there could be an indictment, you know? And that will make you live your life in a very different fucking way. And like, even I was listening to an interview with fucking like Jadakiss and like some other fools the other day, and they were saying like, you know, I wake up early in the morning, I don't know what it's like to get a good night's sleep. And I'm like, they're like, we're still on that shit. Like, we're still the same fucking dudes we were back in the day. And I'm like, that sounds terrible. I'm so glad I don't feel that way.
It sounds fucking horrible. I don't want to live my life being the product of someone else. And when I go on Twitter, I get thousands and thousands of messages weekly, whether it's Instagram DMs or Facebook messages. And it's always the same people who come to me, all the people, for actual advice. And it's usually like girl advice and stuff like that, dudes who are down in the dumps. And I look at them, I was like, I've been the same person too. But you got to know that if you're going through hell, just keep going, just keep going. It's an actual quote. Going through hell, keep going. And I do what I do because it makes me happy and it's fun, but I can also make a living doing it too. Why can't you?
Yeah.
And then they'll have their reasons, and it's like, okay, well, I'm going to show you what you can do.
But, okay, see, that's the problem that you're having / are going to just have worse and worse in the future, is that it's very hard to have a one-on-one relationship with your fans. Your page, you say you like it to feel like more of a community and stuff, and it's like the bigger it gets, the harder it is to feel that. Like, at a certain point, if you can respond to 10 messages a day, all of a sudden you can't respond to 2,000 a day.
That's why I don't sleep. Like, I'm up. You'll go on Twitter, people will go to sleep, wake up, and I'm still live on there because I'm there with multiple tabs open, you know, I'm reading messages, I'm responding to all these messages to know that I'm actually a real person on the other side of the screen, that I am a person who I have feelings,
right?
You know, I'm a person who sees everything, I'm reading the comments, I'm reading the messages, and I do care, you know, and there's a lot of people who look at me and don't like that I'm happy with what I do. For some reason, my happiness is a weapon towards them, and they want to take that away.
Oh, like it's like, oh, you're happy. All you are is a stupid internet loser. You know, like with me, it's always, bro, you're in your 30s and you're still hanging out with rappers and smoking weed and fucking Instagram groupies. It's like
you can you can Google my social media and you'll see people who made petitions against me.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, that made petitions, and then you'll be like, why? Why does he have a petition against him? And then you read some of the comments, and it's like, oh, I don't find him funny, and this and that. So my idea is, don't look at my content.
Yeah, stay the fuck away.
Yeah. Keep scrolling. Why are you hovering over my page? You know, if you don't follow me and you don't like my content, why do you know everything that I post as much as someone who follows me?
Yeah.
And that's something that I deal with every fucking day.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep doing what I do.
But see, that's what I'm saying too. It's like, in a way, starting to ignore your fans or your commenters or whatever, in a way, it's a bad thing. It's a sign that you're losing touch with the platform. In a way, it's a great thing because it's like, I don't have to respond to you motherfuckers. I can just put shit out and fucking I don't have to listen to your stupid ass opinions.
And you know what? I let them know that you can have an opinion.
Yeah.
Just know
Be
that
respectful is all I'm saying.
I'll respect your opinion, but they have this. There's people who think that they can insult you and disguise it as criticism. And those are the worst people. Or
disguise it as a compliment, you mean?
Yeah. Well, no, they'll say, oh, it's criticism.
Oh, yeah.
Because they think that for some reason I provide the service. They think this is Yelp, where they can list all of their problems that they have with my page and how I run my page, and that it's beneficial to me for them to give me these harsh
like you need the criticism.
Yeah, like I need it. Like I'm Walmart and I need to increase my customer service skills.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
Yeah.
And I tell them, well, if you don't like a certain post, you can either wait for the next post or just go away.
Just relax.
Yeah, like just relax. I'm just posting stuff, man.
So you got some big things coming, man, and I appreciate you fucking making me laugh my ass off on Twitter.
Thanks for having me here.
And man, I'm very glad to. I'm very interested to see what your fan base thinks of this interview. I mean, I think it was a great interview, but I think that's going to be very interesting for them to sort of see you come to life in this sort of format.
They were demanding it.
Yeah,
because it was over that Ghostbusters thing.
Oh, so that's when the Milo thing first happened. You were part of that.
I was detached from it, and I didn't know who Milo was.
Oh, okay.
Because it was a similar experience.
Right. Oh, you were talking shit about the movie too.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the director came at me. He sent his fans after me.
He's one of. Oh my god.
Yeah. There's an article. You can look me up and you can find the article immediately. And Twitter tried to pacify me.
They took down your tweets, or did they block you for a while?
So and I'm sure you know how they operate, right? So they'll lock you out of your account temporarily. So this is what they did, and this was really odd. My tweet was just randomly gone.
Right.
And I'm scrolling, I'm like, guys, it's gone. I never deleted it, and then I'm logged out.
Yeah.
It was almost like I was on Facebook. And I'm logged out, and then they put a warning saying that they had to remove my tweet or lock my account.
See, I can't tell if this is like Twitter pandering to like social justice warriorism, or if it's them pandering to like the movie studios who are giving them money for advertisements, presumably.
It's probably that.
Well, and it's because also they just don't want to be seen as like enabling harassment. But I'm not sure what you said, but in Milo's case, like he really didn't say anything bad about Leslie Jones, in my opinion.
My tweet was, I'm trying to remember. It was in the lines of, Ghostbusters 2 is not happening. We did it.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you were, because, hashtag fake news. You were implying that it was done. Yeah.
That it was done. Because they didn't meet the budget.
Oh, really?
So had they met the budget, then more than likely a sequel was happening. But they didn't. So I was celebrating that they didn't. The movie was awful. It was trash.
I mean, that was like the consensus amongst the normal film community too, I believe.
And I tried. I gave it a chance. I tried watching it twice. It was terrible.
Right.
The director of the movie retweeted my tweet.
What a fucking pussy.
Yeah, retweets it. So all his feminist followers can go and attack it, and my mentions blew up.
What's his name?
Paul Feig?
Paul suck a
something
dick, dog.
Like he could eat 2 dicks.
2 dicks.
It's like
both
one
of these
dick
dicks.
times 2.
Hey, these dicks are both pretty good size. We've been hearing too. So
You could eat it.
you can eat them.
You know, and that happens.
Not in the same sitting.
Not in the same thing. That's unhealthy.
No, it's way too many calories.
That's a lot of calories.
I got at least 1,000 calories in my dick, Paul.
2 dicks.
2 dicks, 1 cup.
Yeah, he did that to me, and I was getting attacked, and they were mass reporting me.
Really?
They just couldn't handle the criticism that not everyone's going to like the movie.
Yeah, and even if you make a feminist movie, some people still aren't going to like it.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't find it funny, but if you found it funny, kudos to you. Mm-hmm. Because there's people who don't find me funny. I'm not going to attack you because you don't find me funny.
I've never watched it, and I honestly, I feel the same way that you. I don't think I could even begin to try to watch it, so I don't even.
Yeah, it just wasn't entertaining. Yeah. And you know what? I'm the one who paid money to watch it. Mm-hmm. He didn't pay for me, you know? And on top of that, he's a seasoned director.
And when have you ever heard of a director like coming out and attacking like the online trolls? Like he obviously should not be responding to people like that.
He knew it was bad.
And he knew it was bad because remember the dislike ratio on the trailer?
Yeah.
It was like 1 million dislikes with like 10,000 likes or something.
I think it broke a record at one point.
It was the most dislikes ever.
He knew it was bad. It was a cash grab and it was just an awful movie.
What would have been so good though is if the movie was good and then like it would have been like a good like rebuttal to the people who were pissed off about the idea of it being an all-female movie, but I never heard anyone say it was good.
Yeah,
including their side.
There was people on their side who tried to justify it by saying, "Oh, my kids liked it."
Well, they like the idea of it because they like the idea of women being empowered.
Yeah,
but, yeah.
And you know what? The movie represented all men as stupid.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Women.
Yeah.
I didn't even want that's not equality to me. You're creating a false representation of the other side to bring someone up. You shouldn't have to bring someone down to bring someone else up.
Exactly.
And that's what that movie was doing. And I was not for that. I am for feminism. I am for equal rights.
Right. Me too.
Not by putting someone else down to bring someone else
right.
up.
And another thing that I'm opposed to is just like the fact that like, all right, I call my girl my bitch like quite frequently.
Yeah.
She likes it. You know, it doesn't hurt her feelings. She likes it. She thinks it's cute, whatever. And it's like somehow that is just like feminist girls that I've seen on Twitter, like, oh, he calls this girl his bitch. It's like, well, it's not your fucking business how our relationship works and how we communicate with each other. Exactly. You know, she calls me daddy. You could say that's creepy too. Fucking, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like this is all language, and I think we need words that are considered okay to use to insult women, just like we have words that are used specifically to insult men. And sometimes it feels like they want there to be no language that can be used to insult women ever.
How I see it is it's either none of it's okay or all of it is okay. Pick a side. Because if you tell me something is not okay, but it's okay in a different context, why?
Yeah.
You know? For example, they will listen to music that's misogynist. You know, you got J. Cole who puts some misogynistic lyrics out there, and people, it slips their mind, and they're like, "Oh, I love J. Cole. I love J. Cole." But then, if you use the word female, they think is derogatory.
Yeah.
And it's happened to me before. I'm just like, wait, but
Yeah.
you listen to misogynistic music.
Or like I can say bitch, but literally every rap song ever has the word. Not I can't say ever, but a giant percentage,
Yeah.
90+% probably has the word bitch in it, and
Yeah.
nobody's fucking saying shit. Why don't rappers get judged for anything? That is something we should talk about in the future. Is that rap is given such a pass by the media, and that it's so weird. Even when something like Rick Ross getting in trouble for talking about putting the drink, the Molly in the champagne or whatever,
Yeah.
it was almost shocking to see somebody get called out for saying that they did something bad.
I feel like there's social immunity
Yes,
for
there is.
certain aspects and for certain things. Because even me, at a certain point, I've reached a certain point of social immunity at certain points because it's expected for me to say something wild.
Well, you have a degree of immunity too because you're non-white.
Yeah.
So it's like at the end of the day, like that's such a card. Like, and obviously, like your experience on Earth is different because you're not white. But at the end of the day, it's like in the oppression Olympics that our world is turning into. I mean, everybody's just
It's
trying
a
to fall.
competition.
I'm completely fucked. I'm at the top of the scale. I'm white. I'm cis. I'm fucking got too much money.
Yeah. You're fucked.
They're
man.
coming for me. That's why I almost don't even want a brand deal. I'm going to say non-brand deal from the beginning, unless it's going to make me more famous, because I know that no matter what, if I sign a deal with a TV show, boom, what's going to happen?
Once you hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube, man.
But no, but I'm saying as soon as they decide, like as soon as you start to really be successful, and like they can't do anything to you just because, like PewDiePie, they can't do anything to his money in the sense that he makes a ton of money from YouTube.
They tried to demonetize him, and
But
they couldn't.
they'll take the corporate money away because
Yeah.
they'll swim in and say to the corporations, "Hey, you can't support this guy because he said this thing one time," and that's what will happen to me because I made a joke like the "Catch Me Outside" girl thing.
Yeah.
If I had an MTV show tomorrow, it's gone because of that tweet.
Yeah, and you know what? There's brands who have reached out to me and then canceled whatever agreement, like Ubisoft. I got into this big fucking thing with Ubisoft because one of the community managers, he was a pro-Hillary supporter. And I made jokes about Hillary losing. It was fucking funny to me.
Oh, yeah. How could you not see the fun?
Yeah,
the
like
humor in
had
that?
Trump lost, I would have done the same thing. Again, I didn't vote.
Yeah.
I didn't give a fuck. And he got upset. He followed me 2 weeks prior to the election, and we were talking about doing a giveaway to my fans. To provide copies of Watch Dogs 2. And it was all said and done. It was just a matter of time just waiting until the game comes out. And the game came out post-election, either pre-election or post-election. I made jokes about the Hillary Clinton thing. He got offended and blocked me. And then now I have to go and tell, after promoting the game and promoting what we were going to do, I have to go back to my fans and say, yeah, it's not going to happen. Wow. That makes my reputation get tarnished a little bit because I had ended up making false promises.
But I think it's a good opportunity to just shit on him and just make him this fucking effigy for your problems.
And that's why I did. I went on a different Twitter account and I DM'd him. I was like, dude, it's Barack Obama on Twitter. You blocked me because I made Hillary Clinton jokes.
Right.
He then rebuttals and he rebuts and says, oh, no, it's because you're misogynistic and unprofessional.
God. Always.
And then I said to him, well, I wasn't unprofessional and misogynistic when you followed me and came to me and made the offer, right? 2 weeks ago. But now I am because I made fun of the presidential candidate that you support.
Yeah.
That's why suddenly I'm unprofessional.
American politics is so polarized that there is like almost no opinion that you're allowed to have anymore.
That's why I keep it off my page. I don't talk about it. I don't divide my following. I just support whoever the fuck you want. Don't try to convince me otherwise to choose your side. I'm here. I'm minding my own business.
I'm my own entity.
Yeah.
I hope the camera didn't die. This has been a dope podcast. We should definitely do it again sometime.
Thank you for having me.
Thank
man.
you, bro.
Appreciate it.
No Jumper, SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes. Follow this motherfucker on Twitter and Facebook. I'm going to follow him on Facebook. I don't yet, but I'm going to.
Yeah.
Peace.